Look at that. No easing into things. We just hop right in. Half my face put on. Technical issues not much assuaged, but I said I would be here, so here we are. Better late than never, right? I'm going to make my face look a little bit more presentable as we get settled in. Michael, hello. I'm trying to do a very serious face as I put this lip liner on. Okay. This is so weird. I'm not used to this setup, but I've got like the camera right there. So I'm like, if I want to get the best angle, I have to look here, but I can't see myself. Okay. Hey, Cody. Hey, Dispel. I'm back. It has been 5 ever. Sorry, just give me a sec. Today, I wanted to talk about a few things that we kind of missed yesterday. And I don't know how, not spicy's not the word. How intense we're gonna get, but we'll see how we go. Because I kind of wanted to talk about what this channel's even for and what it's about, and maybe some expectations that people may have, whether they are, in my eyes, like founded or unfounded or something along those lines. You know I'm still on that poetry. You know I'm always on that poetry. And yeah, I know this setup still isn't really that ideal. The lighting and everything, it needs work. I know. I didn't have much success today trying to make it work. Was nearly going to give up, but I thought, nah, let's just go with what we got. And so here I am. And we'll see how long we go for today. Did I get a job in hindsight? That's funny. Honestly, no. That may have been better than what actually happened, which was more like a not sanctioned but inevitable kind of mental overload. My creative juice of poetry has been lacking. Well, you've come to the right place, my friend. Baby, I think I know that name. Cody says, whatever happens, I'm sure it'll go great. That's nice of you to say, Cody. You're my ultimate cheerleader. What have I done to deserve you? All right. This is just a little something. Because I don't feel that presentable right now. And my lipstick is nearly run out. How crazy. This is something I've had for ages. Now it's like, it's up to its last little bit. Maroon Rose, I think I do remember that name. Maroon Rose. Yes, of course I remember that name. That's a new name, actually. Before, we used to call you... Oh gosh, I'm gonna be putting myself in the position to make a fool of myself. Fuck. Oh, I know this. You'll have to tell me. Hi, CJ. Hi, Emdo. Last time I joined your stream was the last time I pulled a poem out. Is that really true? Well, hopefully we can make you write something else today. We'll see how we go. Good evening to you, CJ. A lot's happened in your life, Maroon Rose. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people this year especially have gone through it. And I'm definitely no exception. Some of that stuff you guys have heard about. Some of that stuff I probably just want to keep to myself. But we're here now. I think that's what's important. And so we're in ads right now. Please, please let me apologize. And let me know if anything sounds or looks weird. Is it focused? You guys know me. I'm no tech whiz. Swamp Rat, hello. All is well currently, yes. And I hope the same for you. I'm the only baby who pulls up with that hi, I'm new bullshit. It's my favorite, like, inside joke with you. It's the best. Oh gosh. Ads were short for me, thankfully. Perfect. They're really mercurial. I don't know why some people get shorter ads, some people get longer ones. You guys know how I feel about ads. I can't even discuss it here on Twitch, but hopefully in the past I've made my stance quite clear. A pirate's life for me type beat. Though of course I understand, like, the platform has to make some money somehow, but it just, yeah. It's not the best system in my eyes. It's a mystery to us all. Yeah, I think you're right. And so today, actually, I did want to talk about a movie that I watched yesterday, which is very fitting for this channel. You guys have probably all seen it before because it's quite old, called Dead Poet Society, with the late, great, amazing Robin Williams, and some other pretty big, like, heavy hitters as well that I didn't realize were in it, like Ethan Hawke and even the guy from House. Is it Robert Sean Leonard? And I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. And so, yeah, I know, I watched a movie, guys. I really have changed. I figured maybe we can talk a bit about it today because it's just so perfectly fitting for this channel, right? And so, yeah. Maroon Rose says, I'm a dad now. That's fantastic. Congratulations. I don't want to pry too much. I was about to say, what's their name? But you don't have to say. That's fantastic. I hope you're getting some sleep, if that's even possible. I'm just putting the rest of my face on because I do like having something to, like, distract my hands with while we chat, especially at the start when the nerves are the most intense. Oh, Captain, my Captain, that's exactly right. I wonder if I can zoom in here. Is this going to work, or is this a bad idea? That's as close as it goes, but I don't know if that's really even that good. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Who else loves Robin Williams? He's such a fucking legend, and just so tragic with his passing. It's like, I was telling a friend that despite the fact that I don't really talk about him too much, Robin Williams, he's a very important figure in my life, or, you know, like, in the different movies that he's been in and just kind of his general philosophy towards life, I've always found that I could relate to it. And I remember, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, someone please correct me if I'm wrong, it was 2014 when news, like, came that he passed, and it was devastating. Like, I was just so, I think we all were so shocked by how someone seemingly so happy and bringing such light and laughter to people could be so, could be hurting so much on the inside too. Anyway, it's dark, but I think that, yeah, we would be remiss if we didn't focus on all the wonder and joy and good feeling that that man was able to give us in you know, his wonderful life and career. So, Swamp Rat says, haven't seen that movie, you definitely should. But today saw an episode of Homicide: Life on the Street where Robin Williams was a guest. He was great. Yeah, he's like so fucking, he's kind of goofy and comical, but he's also quite versatile. And like, he can play those dramatic characters or leads. He can play the funny, silly leads. He can even do romantic leads. And it's like, he had it, whatever it is, like that it factor, that X factor. Such a wonderful, wonderful individual. And I feel like someone like me who talks about poetry so much, like a movie called Dead Poet Society, I feel like I should have seen that a long, long time ago, but it kind of just accidentally came across my kind of Netflix front page, recommended page, and I was like, oh, let's just give it a shot. And yeah, I also just recently found out he had a brain disease, which was potentially why, potentially, and I don't mean to speculate too much, but it could have led to his untimely passing as well. Because apparently it's a form of really, really horrific, like quite aggressive, like dementia. Again, I'm very much a layman, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But it's like, it's even more aggressive and even more horrible than like kind of that regular, those regular dementia symptoms and stages where it kind of just completely wipes out all those like dopamine receptors and stuff like that. And so just an absolutely horrific affliction, especially for a person already like kind of struggling with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. I just feel like it's quite sad, you know? And I don't even think they realized until after, like in the autopsy, but yeah. Anyway, we don't have to talk about such sad things, but I just wanted to mention how much I love him as a person and as an actor and stuff like that. Yeah, I completely agree, Cody. I never saw him in something that I didn't enjoy. And then I had the song from Aladdin stuck in my head. Never Had a Friend Like Me. It's so fucking catchy. And it's got like such interesting rhythms and like the places that it goes in the song, the way he's putting on different voices and like doing different like impressions and stuff. So I was singing that all last night as well. Mr. Aladdin, sir, what will your pleasure be? He's like so good, man. I can barely see what I'm actually doing. For some reason, the OBS preview is so much more blurry than the actual output. Just assume that I'm doing something half decent. Have some of column A, try all of column B. I'm in the mood to help you, dude. You ain't never had a friend like me. What else do I want to do here? I can zoom out a little bit so you can actually see me. How's that? And so, yeah, just like, you know, trying to get my cultural cred up, catching up on some of those classics that I've kind of not neglected, at least not purposefully, but just never got around to seeing in my creature of comfort habits, watching the same movies over and over, namely Cat in the Hat and the Austin Powers trilogy, etc., etc. And so, yeah, I'd like to continue broadening those horizons. And yes, a movie night is absolutely still on the cards. Were we going to watch Back to the Future? That's a fucking amazing movie as well. And so maybe we should start organizing that. Excuse me. I even liked Robin Williams as Popeye. Oh, I have the movie on DVD. I don't even know if I've seen Popeye. But I honestly can't think of something of his, like Cody said, that I didn't/don't like. Riku, welcome in. Back for good, you know it. And so, yeah, this is a Robin Williams appreciation post. Because I'm just in that mood, you know, after seeing Dead Poet Society, and also seeing, like I said, the guy from House, as a teenager. He was so cute. I think that was actually the main reason why I wanted to watch it. But then as I got into it, I was like, this movie's actually fucking incredible. It was so naturalistic and so like deceptively simple, if that makes sense. Like it seems like a simple premise, just following a group of boys in their kind of like, I don't know if it's like a private school or like they call it a preparatory school, which I'm not sure exactly what that means. Like as they're kind of coming of age, right? It's a relatively simple premise. But then the story unfolds and it's actually so, it feels just so real and layered and interesting. To take a topic like poetry, which I think most people would have kind of prescribed that to be more of a girly thing, especially at that age, like 17-ish, and like tried to kind of win over a class of teenage boys. Like how do you get a group of teenage boys to give a single fuck about poetry? Like such an incredible premise. And of course, someone like Robin Williams, I think, is the perfect guy for it, or at least his character of John Keating. Yeah, it's like I love movies or like stories in general that have that kind of deceptively simple premise where you take something and you just kind of tease it out, like the what if. Sometimes you don't need all this like big, flashy, like confusing, chaotic or time travel type beat, even though those stories can be fun too. Just like an idea and trying to kind of unravel it and tease it out and see how it unfolds in a very naturalistic way. That stuff really interests me. And so Yeah, I highly recommend it. Dead Poet Society. I don't want to spoil it, even though it is a very old movie, because, like, I hadn't seen it before yesterday, so I figured there's probably other people out there who also haven't seen it, and I'd be doing a disservice if I spoiled it. So, anyway, let's see. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're doing fantastically. I hope you are feeling like you're ready to get back into the swing of things, whatever the swing of things is. This is the Alive Poet Society. That's right. That's exactly right. See, look, welcome in. Roses are red, violets are blue. Some poems rhyme. This one doesn't. That's a great one. Welcome in, Chill Drew. That's a great name. Yeah, we're just like, I'm slowly getting back into the rhythm, I think. And, oh, Bicentennial Man. Fuck. That literally always makes me cry. And my auntie as well. I can't, see, this is the thing. I don't really like sad movies because, well, I get too invested and it just emotionally destroys me, right? And so especially if I'm with people, I don't want to just like become this like sobbing wreck of a person. So I tend to only watch sad movies on my own if I can help it. And it's okay. Like I tend to get away with it because my family especially really likes horror films. So I tend to just watch scary movies with them, even though I hate scary movies. I know I'm quite picky. And so like when I'm alone, I can afford myself a little sad film and just like cry my eyes out. But if I'm with other people, I have to kind of be like, I'm not crying. There's just tears in my eyes. Yeah, definitely bittersweet, Bicentennial Man. And so, yeah, it's like, it's weird because I think sometimes stereotypically sad movies don't affect me as much. With like Dead Poet Society, for instance, I think I'd consider it more tragic than sad. And so I think I'd be okay watching that with people, even though it did get me at times. Like when he's talking about poetry with so much like passion and like vigor, I'm just like, yeah, that's my man. He gets me. But when it comes to stuff like love, when movies talk about love and like sacrifice and especially family related like kind of topics, that's when it really gets me and I'm like, I can't watch this with people, I'm sorry. And so yeah, I know it's borderline neurotic. I won't argue with that, but still I think that's probably why I tend to prefer the safe, easy, watched it 100 times movies, because I know what to expect. And there's a comfort in that, in knowing what you're going to get, knowing that you're going to have a safe experience, that nothing's going to pop out at you and just like stab you right in the feels. Because sometimes, I don't know if this is relatable or not, but you're not looking for that like whole tumultuous like experience for the next 2.5 hours. Sometimes you just want some easy breezy watching. And so yeah, if you can relate, it's going to be an all emotions debate. That's right. And so for me, it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just sensitive and I need to grow up, but I think it's like the case where I have to mentally prepare myself to get stabbed in the feels. And sometimes I'm just like, you know what? No, I just want something nice and easy breezy, beautiful. And so Cat in the Hat it is. But I am glad that I've tried to branch out a little bit. We should bribe your brother to alter your DVD collection with jump scares. That's quite funny. Honestly, my family, they don't even need to they don't need to be bribed. They love horror films, any kind, like slasher, thriller, gory, or just psychological. Jump scares, no jump scares, they love it. And I'm a total scaredy cat, so I'm usually just dragged into it reluctantly, and we watch whatever it is, and I'm just like on the edge of my seat like the whole time. But I do it because I love them. And so I have seen, funnily enough, the fact that I always say to people, oh, I hate horror films. I've probably seen more horror films than any other genre combined. Because just from like circumstance of being dragged into it. And so, they definitely don't need any bribing in that regard. As for if I ever cried to Cat in the Hat, honestly, I think I might have cried to one of the like behind the scenes. Like, I can't remember if this is just like a false memory or if this actually happened, but I remember watching like the behind the scenes and like the DVD that they give you, and they were playing that song like, oh, how does it go? Things are getting better all the time. And I was like, this, I don't know, just something about that song just, I don't know, just got me. And, you know, getting so much better all the time. That, like, that hopefulness. I was just like, you know what? It really is. But the actual movie, I think I've grown pretty accustomed to it at this point. And so no crying, at least not anymore. Who knows? But yeah, I think sometimes horror is really like that kind of, for my family, I can only assume it's that easy, safe way to be thrilled, you know, and you don't have to put your actual self in danger. Like, you don't have to actually get chased by a knife-wielding madman to get that thrill. You can just watch it happening to someone else. And so I think I can see the appeal. But yeah, it's like, it's funny because to me, I'm like, I don't even want to get the thrill from watching it. But what can I say? I'm usually there anyway. So, Polydactyl, welcome in. And so yeah, my dream is to still to experience a sword trap IRL. That's so funny. Like, try an escape room actually, if you haven't already. They can be quite thrilling. And if you can't solve them, the embarrassment is horrific enough. Like, one time my auntie and I did an escape room and we literally we could barely get inside. That was the thing. Like, the escape room experience technically started before you even got inside the room, and my auntie and I, we couldn't even get inside. Like, we had to find some code or whatever by looking out the window, and we didn't realize that. We're just like trying to get into the actual door, like turning the doorknob and stuff, and the like owner had to come and help us. And like half the time had already passed before we even got inside, and that was quite embarrassing, but it was still fun. I try to like save my pride by saying that it was because there was only two of us, and technically I think with a lot of escape rooms you're meant to have a group, and so just me and my auntie trying to rub one brain cell together, yeah, that was never gonna work. But we couldn't get inside. That was yeah, not my proudest moment, I'll admit. But gosh, yeah. Anyway, movies, media, blah blah blah. You guys have favorite movies? We've probably talked about this before. Yeah, my last two brain cells type beat. It's true. It's an interesting medium, and I think for me, because I'm mainly in the realm of like the textual, like stuff, I always feel a little bit out of my depth when I'm watching a movie and trying to dissect it in a way that maybe I dissect a book or any kind of story, and there's so much like to take into account. Sometimes I wonder how the hell movies even get made in the first place, you know? Oh, and that reminds me also, did we even talk about this before my big break? I've been also getting really, really into Lord of the Rings. And I know, the stereotype. Like, I'm so nerdy, guys. I've joined the dark side. I was thinking about movies in particular and how crazy long it takes for them to get finished. But also how much like, how much coordination there needs to be to also just make them happen. And it's like, it's quite an astounding feat. I know for me personally, like sometimes it's hard enough to just write a story on my own, right? I can be my own worst enemy sometimes. But then you think about what it takes to make a movie and all the different moving parts and how everything has to go just right, and like how you have to coordinate this really large scale operation. It's quite a feat and something that I find really impressive. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is so good. It's like it's honestly a marvel. Like, I don't even know what other word to use, and I've been getting probably too into it, I'm not gonna lie. So I'll try and temper my obsession for now. But yeah, I highly recommend them, Sea Locket, if you haven't seen them. The extended cuts as well, of course. You just have to, right? But yeah, it's like, it's a totally different medium, obviously. But also like, it just seems so, this is going to sound a bit sappy, but inspiring in a way that people can come together through this shared passion for a thing and just like knuckle down and get shit done. It's like, oh, that's really cool. And then to produce something so wonderful at the end of it all. As long as you don't read the Silmarillion, you're not a nerd. That's hilarious. And honestly, I I'm so slightly ashamed to say that I'm kind of considering it, but for now, I'm sticking with the books because I haven't actually read the books. I'm nearly done with the first book, and I've seen all the movies now, probably a bit too many times. But yeah, I'll let you guys know if I fall that far into my obsession. Oh God. And so, yeah, I have no doubt the books were better. Like, even reading the first one, I've been so, like, blown away by Tolkien's, like, just astounding ability to write as if he's pulling from an actual real life history. Like, the depth of his world and the characters and, like, all the, I don't know, just the ways in which he describes what's happening. It feels like he didn't make it up. It feels like he literally saw all this happen and is just writing it down, like very much in like that historical text kind of way, which I think was his intention. But yeah, even the trees have a backstory. It's so funny because like as a writer, I feel a mix of envy and awe and just that kind of question mark, question mark, question mark. Like how the hell did someone have that much inside their brain, right? To just share with the world. I know that he was writing on and off for like most of his life, actually, even throughout like, was it World War One or World War Two? Please forgive me for my ignorance. And so he had like his whole lifetime of stories and imaginations to like pull from, but it's just so, it's so believable, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. This may be just a me thing. I don't even know if you guys really care that much when you read like stories and stuff. But if you've ever read something and felt like it doesn't like it's not believable, do you know what I mean? Like you read a story and it's like, oh, and then the alien called Galub Galub came down and it's like, I don't know, it just feels like a story, right? But when you read what Tolkien's written, it feels like, oh yeah, it makes sense that the elf would be called this. I don't know. It just seems to be so real, and I'm articulating that so poorly. But yeah, there's a sense of like credence there, and I think as a writer, that's the ultimate. Like that's the goal, you know. The alien Galub Galub. It's so funny, and it's like I don't mean to like talk poorly on any other writers. Honestly, this is a criticism I levy towards myself as well when I'm reading back my own writing, and I'm like, that doesn't really. It doesn't feel like it actually is of the world. It just seems like something a writer put down because it sounded cool, right? But yeah, with Tolkien, and I could honestly go on about this for like way too long, so stop me if this gets horrifically boring. But it's almost like he's not making it up. It actually fucking happened. The alien Galub Galub. Welcome in Melodies, by the way. But yeah, it's so funny. And he served in World War One, thank you. Which is, I mean, I think in particular he said that he didn't want his work to be like kind of considered a metaphor, like allegorical towards like any one particular thing in the real world. But you can see that level of maybe camaraderie between the characters and that level of like faith in connection between people and I guess an ultimate good. I think surely his time like in the war would have impacted that, you know, at least that's my opinion. And so it's just fascinating, and I've officially become a fangirl, even though for most of my life like the Lord of the Rings was just like this weird far away fandom, like kind of somewhat adjacent to Harry Potter, but I was always like in the Harry Potter camp. But now I've given in to my true nature, I suppose. Just so nerdy. So yeah, we all stand Galub Galub around here. It's funny, like I have no doubt that over the course of these streams, I'll be talking more and more about Lord of the Rings, because I do think, in a funny way, whether this is just copium or not, that reading his work and also like just watching the movies and stuff has actually made me a better writer. Like just noticing, it's almost like if you're kind of an amateur dancer and then you get to watch the best dancer in the world, you kind of pick up on stuff, both like overtly and covertly. And so we talk a lot about, or at least we used to talk a lot about, that idea of the invisible work, which is when I don't want to be so specific, but I usually fall back on writing because that's what I do. But in general, this applies to any kind of art, so just keep that in mind. When you're consuming a particular type of art made by someone extremely competent, right? A lot of the times you can't tell why it's competent. You know, because the work that they've done is invisible. You know, like when a metal welder is very good at their job, you can't tell where the pieces of metal have been welded together because they make it look seamless. Whereas maybe with a more inexperienced welder, you can kind of see the join, you can see where the tension or whatever has been applied. And I think that metaphor, as shaky as it may be, applies pretty much across the board. And so, counterintuitively, perhaps, it's sometimes harder to actually glean insight from the experts because their work is so good, it's hard to pick apart, right? And I would honestly say that that's pretty true in my experience. However, with Tolkien, it seems like even though his work is very much invisible, it's laid so bare and so kind of almost earnestly. And this is just me like kind of thinking out loud here, so take it as you will. It's kind of laid so bare that it still feels like you can glean quite a lot from it. At least that's what I've noticed. And so, Melodies, you're a Tolkien super nerd. If you're actually being serious, then we're now officially best friends because holy shit, I love it so much. I'm trying to actually be kind of somewhat semi-cool about this, but I'm like on the inside I'm fangirling. And yeah, Tolkien was actually good friends with C.S. Lewis, which is incredible. Like, it's kind of weird to think about these fucking literary giants just like actually existing. Sometimes it's like, oh wait, they were actually real people. And like they were friends with each other and they were probably writing cool shit together. And it's like, I don't know. I can't really pick out what feeling that gives me. It's like jealousy or something like that. Yeah, they were real. They were real. I feel that way about Elvis, actually. I remember I was telling my friend recently, like, oh yeah, Elvis was actually real and not just like some combined hallucination of like all the horniest girls in America. Tolkien is the GOAT. I totally agree. And so, like, did what I say about the invisible work make sense, right? Like, sometimes it's too hard to really pick out what makes something good. But sometimes when it's really, really, really good, the invisible work kind of turns back around into being at least somewhat permeable, especially if you're looking out for it, at least. Is poetry invisible work? Absolutely. I think anything can have like those fingerprints of invisible work, invisible fingerprints, if you want to go there. If it's done deftly enough, like if someone is competent enough. And it's hard to get if you haven't been in that position yourself, but especially if any of you guys have ever been in like a class, like where you have to do a workshop, let's say, you have to read all your peers' work, right? Some, of course, like the natural order of things, some will be more robust or competent than others. And that's just how it goes, like without any judgment passed whatsoever. With the ones that are less, experienced, usually you can tell why. It's like, oh, they didn't put a comma here, for instance, or they used a simile that maybe is distracting from the actual work. And so you can kind of very systematically pick out what you would change maybe in order to smooth out some of those kinks, right? Then you read an actual like experienced piece of work and you're like, this is just good. Like, and I don't know why and I don't know how to pick this out. And that invisibility is both a boon and I think a hindrance because on the one hand, it's why their work is so fantastic and it's a marker of how much effort and time and experience has gone into it. But for maybe a newbie, it can be difficult because if you're looking to learn something from it, maybe the techniques are a bit above the kind of graspable concepts, if that even makes sense. Just, you know what I mean. Melody says, I'm shamefully nerdy on this topic, then we're going to be eating good tonight. I actually immediately have an hour-long lecture I want to recommend. Yes, please. About how Tolkien creates a sense of an authentically aged world. Please. I honestly think there's no way you could be more nerdy about this topic than me, considering like just the the craziness and the spiraling obsession that has kind of gripped me the past few months. And so please feel free to recommend anything and everything. I just saw a very brief interview with Tolkien talking about, what was he talking about exactly? Like how and why he kind of wrote The Hobbit, um, like kind of after he'd already made the world, and like he kind of put the hobbits as characters into this already established world. And I thought that was really interesting. And so he had a very unique approach to writing, and I think everyone's heard this before, where it's like, oh yeah, he's actually a linguist first and foremost, and he created language first, and then the story, or the world rather, to follow. And everyone knows that, right? Oh yes, feel free to put it in Cherry University. That'd be fantastic. Thank you. And so it makes sense to me that he started with that fascination in words themselves, and like the kind of the moving bits and pieces of like how language forms and evolves over time. And then he just thought, well, I need a vehicle for this like lexical play. And so he created the world. But honestly, without trying to be too hyperbolic, I honestly don't think that we're going to get another writer like Tolkien in our lifetimes, and probably ever again. I don't know. I probably shouldn't be that over the top about it. But just the fact that he was able to write so much, like he was so prolific, and so I don't want to say consistent, because he did like revise over time and had to go back to correct some of his old things that he wanted to change. But I mean consistent in the sense that like he had this world that he was dedicated to, and he was like consistently building it out and out and out. Like that takes so much fucking mental strength and fortitude. It's like, how? How? Like, how can you not get bored of your own work after some amount of time? I guess when you have an imagination like his, I do wonder if he had more to say. And, you know, even with his long, illustrious and quite prolific like writing career, especially, you know, all the stuff that was published posthumously after he died, I wonder if he had more to say, and if we were lucky enough to be given more time with him, like on Earth, what he might have come up with. Yeah, how do you keep track? That's a fantastic question. You got to have that passion, that more passion, more footwork. He just like had that drive, I think. Like, I assume that his inner world was just incredibly rich, and he had that thing, which I think sometimes I get when I'm in good form. It's not always there, but I think the capacity to have it is always there. Of like, I have this thing inside me and it needs to come out. Like, it needs to be shared. And when you get in that way, or at least I can only speak for myself, when I get in that way, there is nothing that will stop me. And so maybe he just had that more often, more severely than most. And how lucky we are that that's the case. Like, I'm even getting like choked up talking about it right now. Oh God, that's embarrassing. Polydactyl says that Tolkien also told the German publishers to go fuck themselves when they inquired about his Aryan heritage and held a personal grudge against Hitler. Honestly, it's like, it is a relief, not gonna lie, because it's like, oh God, you know, when you find someone new that you really like, whether they're a celebrity or whatever, and then you realize, you like read the news about them and you're like, oh, your personal favorite celebrity just announced they're like, they're devoting their time to the new Third Reich. And it's like, not again. Not again. God fucking damn it. Sorry. J.K. Rowling. Anyway, do I want to write fantasy fiction now? Honestly, this is, okay, that is a fantastic question. And here's why. Because I kind of realized for the longest time, even without knowing the words for it in particular, I have been kind of writing like fantasy adjacent fiction for a very, very, very long time. Back in university, while I was writing this stuff, I didn't have the words necessarily, and I called it what we called magical realism, which I think is, of course, its own thing as well. But essentially, they're cousins, I think. Like some of the stuff that we've read here of my own work, when you guys so thoughtfully like indulge me in that way. Like, we talk about characters that are so sensitive to the world that they literally control the weather, right? Knowingly or unknowingly. Or characters that are so in tune with each other that they can literally read each other's thoughts. And so it's like, it's interesting because I've discovered this a few times in my life, actually, where like, it's almost like I've discovered something new for the first time, but really it's speaking to something that's already been inside my like thoughts and feelings for a very long time. And this is one of those instances, maybe just more explicit. And so to answer that question, yes, is the short way to say it. But I feel like, yeah, I've been circling that for a while. Like even with just the Odin and Ada stories that we've read together, that literally has a very fantastical premise, like a curse that makes you kind of puke up random like inorganic objects. It's like kind of fantasy. The reason why I always called it magical realism was because it's kind of the fantastical elements are kind of subsumed. Is that even a word? Into real life, the life that we know, and it's kind of dealt with as if it were to happen in real life, like with the shock or disgust and all those feelings that you would feel if suddenly one day you randomly puked up like a full-on makeup brush, for instance. And so that's where the kind of realism comes into play. But who knows, maybe trying a full-on actual fantasy story would be interesting. I feel like kind of shy about it. I don't know why. And so, yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, I know, right? It's like, it's disappointing to say the least, but sometimes, unfortunately, not surprising. And that's the fucked up thing, because it's like, now, more often than not, you kind of have to brace yourself when you, at least I can only speak for myself again. Like, when I find someone new that I really like, I'm like, oh, do I dare and do I dare? Go into their personal history and like their own like politics that they've shared, because there's a high chance that you'll end up slightly disappointed or disgusted even. So as for hearing bad things about me, honestly, I think I've got, I mean, not that extreme. Holy shit. I think my politics especially have been quite clear from day dot. And that's also something I wanted to talk about today, just to reiterate. But like, I am just as stubborn, selfish at times, self-invested, shy, lazy as anyone else. And so I want you guys to know that, right? Like, the time that we spend here, I'm quite like, you know, overtly and without hiding it, trying to be a good / better version of myself. And it's like, you know, it's the kind of thing where I will be the first one to say that I'm definitely not perfect. And so just because my politics are maybe less egregiously horrible, it kind of feels like that's, I don't know, the bare minimum sometimes. It's like, oh, great, you're not a Nazi. It's like, yeah, that's that should not deserve a round of applause, but you know. I'd suggest the works of Fritz, is it Lieber, to you if you like Tolkien. Thank you. I'll take that into account. I'm unfamiliar with the name, so I'm eager to dig into it. On Fairy Stories is a creative essay by Tolkien, a great essay on his thoughts on the creative process. Oh, that's right up my alley. No, please don't stop. And feel free, like we said earlier, to post that in the Cherry University, because I'll be digging through that later. But yeah, I think we're all allowed to be human. That's right, Cody. Like, it's just, with something like J.K. Rowling, it does baffle me because, and I think this is a really deep topic. I'm not going to go too into it, because we could be here all day. But with someone like J.K. Rowling, one of the richest people in the world, created this beloved franchise and literally set for life as this incredible, like, deity of a person. And yet, I feel like she kind of squandered all that charitability that she built up for herself. In pursuit of what? Like, I don't know, targeting an already quite vulnerable and, you know, like, in need of protection minority demographic. Like, that's not the flex you think it is, Joanne. It's just, it's interesting. I know it has intricate ties to, like, the geopolitical system as well. Because for some reason, there's a lot of transphobic individuals, especially in, like, the UK. I remember the writer for a TV show that I really fucking like, The IT Crowd, fucking hilarious show, also went down that way. And, like, to the point, like, more than usual, if that makes sense. Because, yeah, Graham Lennon, that's right. God, you're on top of it today. It's interesting because it's not your everyday, like, regular transphobia, which would be bad enough on its own. but it's like that kind of spiraling down the drain where their whole lives become like laser focused on making everything about, oh my God, trans people are evil. And it's like, don't you have better things to do? Like, really? And it's interesting how that particular sense of like intense, urgent, like borderline derangement, if I want to go that way, seems to come exclusively from that part of the world, right? And so, you know, we can all have our own opinions, of course. I just feel like it's interesting how with someone like that beloved, and of course she thinks that she's doing something sensible and like being, I don't know what she thinks she's being, actually. Maybe I shouldn't put words in her mouth. But I think she's trying to make a point about her own beliefs where it just seems a little bit much, to say the least. And so I should make it clear, like now in this stream, and for the future, like streams that we have together, my politics have always been pretty left-leaning. And, you know, I don't think that's surprising to literally anyone. But like, in general, I think whenever I'm feeling lost or unsure about how I should think about something, of course, you follow the fucking evidence. That's a good place to start. But really, that's what axioms are for in general. We talked about axioms a lot. It's kind of like the bedrock of your reasoning. So, for instance, if someone asks you a question, what's your favorite color? Usually, you could answer them like, red. But they could also like pick at that even more and be like, why? You could be like, well, I think red is a color of passion. But they could ask you, why? And you could keep going like down, 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 down until you reach bedrock, essentially, where you're like, I don't know why, it just is. That's what an axiom is. It's the bedrock where you can't really justify it any more than like the fact that it exists. Like it's self-justifying in the fact that it exists. And so for me, I think it's helpful to think about politics as a series of axioms, ones that are hopefully well-reasoned and empathetic. For me, we've talked about them before, like that idea of like maximizing pleasure and minimizing suffering for myself, of course, and anyone that I could conceivably affect with my existence, my words and actions. And so when I think about things that I believe in, like, is this maximizing pleasure and minimizing suffering? Truly, not just in a way that seems like surface level or good enough to get by, like on an appearance-based thing, right? And so that's helpful. And I can't really justify why that is my belief any further than, well, I just think it's a good way to be, right? And because you're starting from that foundational place, it seems more secure, I think, than if you're starting from somewhere like a bit more high in the sky. Like, oh, I think all trans people should da da da. It's like, well, why do you think that? And it's kind of hard to answer, you know? And a lot of the times you can see people struggle with their answers because they're realizing that they don't really have an answer. They've just been like conditioned potentially or expected to feel a certain type of way. And so the wheels start spinning, right? Asking why. It's called the why game. That's what I like to call it. And so it can be, yes, pretty insufferable if like I am doing that to you, for example. But I think it can be a helpful practice when done appropriately, you know, for curiosity's sake and in moderation, of course. But yeah, it is the doubling down. You're right, Melodies. It's like, it seems like there's a real inflexibility there, like the digging the heels in. Like I know firsthand what it's like to be wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times in my life, and I'm sure I will be in the future. But I think there is a real skill in graciously knowing when to accept a defeat in a way. Just being like, yeah, that was ill, like ill thought out. I didn't consider this option or this option. I could have been a bit more empathetic. Like that to me takes guts. And I feel like it's a shame when there's an opportunity for that for someone else, but they don't take it, maybe for whatever reason. It's hard to say what would drive it. As for how to change people's axioms, that is a fantastic, fantastic question. And to be honest, I have a woefully inadequate answer because I don't think because it is bedrock. It's one of the hardest things to change about like someone else's like point of view. It's literally like changing their entire worldview, right? But I think a lot of the time, simply leading by example is a really great place to start. And if people are curious enough, if they genuinely want to be different, whether that's better, hopefully, or worse, they will kind of approach you and like they'll ask. And having that like kind of open, completely like not judgmental, but still competent, if that's the word, conversation is a really great place to start. And yeah, I think the more you try to force someone to change their mind, the more resistant they may be, unless they already realize something is kind of wrong, right? But I think it's possible. And honestly, my axioms, like even though those are the main ones, like maximizing pleasure, minimizing suffering, I have a bunch of like mini ones, I guess you could call it, and those change all the time, like updated with new information and with new understandings of how I want to move through the world. If I realize like, oh, actually maybe I've been too permissive of certain things in the past, or in fact maybe I've been too close to the chest when I could have facilitated more open and heartfelt conversations. Like those things are, I think, good data points to recalibrate. Now, it sounds very mechanical in a way, but it's like it's this constant process, and it's why I call it our life's work, right? It's exhausting, and I think, I mean, not always, but it can be exhausting, and I think that shouldn't be a sign that it's not working, or like a sign that you're doing it wrong, you know? Because to be honest, if you think about it, most people probably don't really think that much about that sort of stuff, you know, the metacognition. And I don't know, potentially we'd be better off if more people did. That's just my theory. But, you know, I try not to assume like this is something else, a whole thing entirely. I'll try not to get too into it. But I try not to assume that kind of that jokey, memey thing that like other people are NPCs. I know it's funny to joke about and stuff, but it's like, how do I explain this? It's really easy to start having an unempathetic perspective if you like repeat that little joke often enough, you know? Because words, of course, have very, very potent power, right? And if you buy into it, even as a joke, it's like, oh, you know, everyone around me is just an NPC. It's like, think about what you're saying there. You're saying that like you're the only person that actually has true agency and true like personality and therefore is deserving of actual empathy, right? It's like, oh, that's a tricky place like to sit in. And even if people are like, oh, it's not that deep, you know, it's like, well, the words we use impact the ways that we interact with others, you know? Of course, like how could they not, right? And so even though, yeah, I may admit that maybe sometimes people can be maybe lacking in certain things, like, I don't know, I just call it metacognition. It's like, I think it's a step too far to call them NPCs, because yeah, it's a way to dehumanize. I totally agree. And so I just feel like it's a fine line, and I don't even know the right way to go about it. I just try my best, and sometimes, you know, you have to recalibrate when you think, oh, I could have done that better. Could have interacted with that person better. I could have been less selfish, or I could have been da-da-da, right? Because you can't get it perfect every time. And you can't get it perfect, like, even most of the time, to be honest. So, you know, it's, yeah, it's a tricky process. We're just always approaching something as opposed to being there. And I think that can be quite rightfully frustrating to people. But, you know, what is the alternative? I'm not sure. Just like, yeah, doubling down, spinning your wheels. That seems way more, like maddening to me, at least. But yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, and trust me, like I'm not any kind of neurochemical expert or really any expert in anything. They're just my observations from like lots and lots of thinking out loud and, you know, interacting with people and stuff like that. And so, yeah, just trying to believe people, just trying to like meet someone where they're at is a great place to start. You don't expect a little baby to prove its worth to you, but you know it's worthy of love and care. That's a very, very nice way to put it. Yeah, and I think honestly, it's hard because this is the thing. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, this is just my thoughts on the matter, but it almost seems like a lot of like forces, whether you want to describe them as like having agency or not, but forces like media and stuff and the way that we've scheduled our working lives, they kind of push us towards more hyper independence, right? Needing to stand up for yourself, to be self sufficient, to not have to rely on anyone. It's almost seen now as like a bit of a sign of weakness or like, oh, you know, putting yourself in a position of vulnerability, which in a way is true. But because of that, like hyper independence, I think we've maybe lost like some of that care has frayed at the edges. So like how we treat other people. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like maybe sometimes we treat each other maybe a bit more utility based instead of care based and with a bit more suspicion and yeah, kind of more guarded, which was only worsened, I think, with the pandemic as well. But it's a shame, I think, because like we are social animals, right? And I think there's so much to be gained from like that closeness and the interconnected relationships that are out there. Um, and so yeah, just like trying to believe people, meet them where they're at, is a good place to start and just unlearn some of that behavior, I think, for whatever it's worth. Um, but yeah. Oh god, we're getting too deep, guys. It's only the second stream back and we're getting in too deep. Um, does that make sense? I don't know. Hmm. Pardon me. It makes sense? Good. But yeah. Thank you, Sea Locket, for the hydrate. Oh my gosh, I need a blows nose fucking point thing as well. For some reason, talking for too long makes me need to blow my nose, and it's not pretty. And I don't even have my the rest of my like what's it called assets here, so I can't even do this like. I just blew my nose. Excuse me. Like that's meant to be the BRB screen. It's not there. Oh, I'll get it figured out, don't worry. But yeah. Deep conversation is better than pointless banter. Thank you. I hope that it's like understandable for the most part. Gosh, thought someone redeemed end stream. Oh gosh. But yeah. That also reminds me actually. I wanted to talk a little bit about like now that we're back and stuff, like expectations that people may have for this channel. It's probably a long overdue conversation as well. Something that I probably should have talked about ages and ages ago, but never really got around to it. And that's kind of like what this channel is even really about, what it's for, what it does, what I'm even doing here. Because I think sometimes people may get their own ideas or impressions, and I don't want people to come away feeling maybe disappointed or like they've been shortchanged in the world, in a way. And so I forgot to bring my expectations. That's actually probably the best way to approach this place. Because I think sometimes, especially because I don't know exactly if I do the whole streaming thing like most streamers do. Yeah, it is a form of self-therapy. Absolutely. It's like the description that I always come back to, like quite often, is that idea of like an audio diary that I'm just kind of saying out loud in real time, like writing and reading it in real time. Audio visual, that's exactly right. And I think sometimes that maybe confuses people. Because they expect me to come here and do like the stereotypical streamer thing where I'm like, hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be doing the hot chili challenge where I I eat 50 hot chilies and write people's names on my chest. It's like, maybe one day I'll do something like that. But really, for the most part, I'm thinking out loud. I'm taking things in my head and trying to unravel them into something kind of coherent or cohesive, because otherwise they'll just stay jumbled up in my brain, right? And sometimes, because that is kind of a taxing process, I get lost and maybe I disconnect a bit from like the chat or whatever. Though I do my best, especially with something like this, which I think is pretty manageable, to kind of dip in and out where it's relevant, right? Eat a habanero, I'll donate $50. Oh, fuck. So yeah, that's the stereotypical streamer kind of vibe, right? And I can't begrudge that, actually. There's lots to be said about like how funny and entertaining those streams can be, right? And so I think from the very beginning, actually, I seem to get this, whether it's founded or unfounded, or not, criticism that like, oh, Emmy just ignores the chat all stream. And it's like, I mean, maybe. It's not intentional. It's certainly not malicious. And I think it's only a compounding problem as well. Like, unfortunately, the larger a channel gets, the more of an issue that really becomes, right? But in general, I think if I maybe set the expectations quite early on, people will feel less hurt by it, maybe. Like, I tend to think of this place more as like a kind of weird form of television, right? Imagine if your television just started speaking back to you. I think that'd be kind of weird. Like, it's yeah, it's something that is kind of unfolding live. And while you guys very often, actually, more often than not, like help contribute to the shape of it, it's really like more of like that TV radio style show than like this choose your own interactive adventure thing where I'm like asking people's I don't know, asking for money to, yeah, write people's names on my chest. And so, yeah, does that make sense? Because I just don't want people to like to feel cut or like upset by the fact that sometimes you guys are really just maybe in for like a 3-hour rambling session where I'm just talking about whatever's in my brain and is wanting to come out. And other times maybe I'm a little bit more like interactive or a little bit more that stereotypical streamer vibe if I'm doing something with my sister or like we're doing a dress up or something like that. Because I think, yeah, I was always quite interested in that criticism because it's like, well, if you want that stereotypical streamer vibe, go watch a stereotypical streamer. You know, it's like, it always seemed like, okay, you're coming to a specific place that's doing something else, but you want it to do the thing that you're actually like going away from. Make it make sense. And so, yeah, I mean, I know that my vibe is not like going to be to everyone's taste, of course. But it's just like one of those things where it surprised me because it's like, yeah, there's probably millions of people streaming right now. Find one that is to your liking. And if a random girl online just rambling is not to your style, which is probably fair enough, like that's cool, man. That's really fine. It's like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. That's something I wanted to mention. I come here for whatever you want to provide to us. That's nice, Cody. I appreciate that. And yeah, sorry, this is a bad time for ads. Maybe I should just like pause here and we'll get back to it in a sec. Wait, your television doesn't talk back to you? Yeah, I know, right? What have I missed here? I've always had faith that we change this platform not by just being us, not following any trends or anything like that. Yeah, I feel like even just in terms of having a good time, like I feel like if I tried to be more like the style that maybe is expected of me, I'd find that a bit insufferable or just like hard to maintain, right? That energy is too much sometimes. Like the Mr. Beast style. I know I always use him as a scapegoat, but it's true. It's like he kind of set the tone, I think. Nowadays, because I have been away for a while, I'm not sure what the Twitch meta exactly is, but I don't know. Like, I'm kind of a bit like disillusioned with trying to follow whatever the meta is. unless it's something I'm genuinely interested in, then that's just a happy like merging of ideas. But specifically for the I don't know, specifically for the express purpose of like numbers and statistics, that doesn't interest me, you know. The meta is now Tolkien. Yeah, baby. That's actually, honestly, that's something I could get on board with. Um, as for the warning, yeah, I had to put that on because I don't know, like, if they'd consider swearing and like the use of the F bomb, vulgarity, but I didn't want to, like, I wanted to hedge my bets essentially. But I don't know, like, how vulgar, like, how much swearing do you have to do before it's considered vulgar? I'm not sure. Maybe we should test it. But yeah, that's kind of what that's there for, just so I don't accidentally get myself into trouble. Um, but yeah, the least vulgar streamer I know. Okay, that's good. That brings me comfort. I'm not sure if like any swearing at all is considered vulgar. Because I have said the big ones. We all know the big ones. But yeah, just hedging my bets because I don't want to accidentally get fucking, you know, wiped off the face of the earth. This chat is decadent, not vulgar. Yeah, exactly. Oh, PG movies are allowed one singular F bomb. Maybe, yeah, each stream should have one sanctioned F bomb, and that's completely fine. I think that's a good way to go about it. Oh, if I ever streamed, I get banned in 5 minutes. I'm honestly surprised that I've made it this far. Like, considering some of the stuff that we've talked about, some of the stories that we've read, I think we always couch it pretty poetically, so maybe that's why we get away with it. Melodies, that's exactly how I'd use my sanctioned F-bomb. And it'll be that same phrase every stream. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I know what I said mostly got swallowed by the ads there, but as a summary, like, if a major appeal for an individual is like me being super interactive with every single message in the chat, I just want to say right now that I don't think that's ever going to be like, I don't know, super possible, at least more possible than it has been. So yeah, does that make sense? I always felt a little bit indignant about that because it's like, yeah, I mean, do you know how bad a stream would be if like someone was just responding like without any bit of cohesion or like cohesiveness between every single message? It would just be like talking to an AI, I guess. Is that what people want? I don't know. But yeah, I can understand like if the topics between the chat and the streamer are too wildly different. But even then, like the biggest streamers are typically doing that anyway, just out of necessity. So yeah, I don't know if there's a clean-cut answer. And I recognize that sometimes people just won't really vibe with whatever's going on. And they're not like, I'm not entitled to that either. So I don't know. I just felt like I should say up front, like it really is more of an audiovisual diary. And that's a good way to frame it because I think that helps with people's expectations. And yeah. Is this real or AI type beat? Who knows? Maybe I'm just a very convincing illusion. And yeah, I'm sure there are streamers like Jen who does it, who do that very like quick back and forth interaction really well, very competently. But like, yeah, I don't know. This isn't that. At least not always. But yeah. What else was I gonna say? I'm out of focus. Fuck me. How do I focus this fucking camera? Like, what the last Pringle in the can sees before it gets taken out. Yeah. As for the streams and stuff, yeah, it's just gonna be more of the same. Hopefully, like, yeah, interesting dialogues and more unspooling of my brain. So, Yeah, cohesive dialogue. Sometimes it's like about reordering what you see in the chat. Like if I'm talking about something in the moment and a chat message pops up that directly relates to it, it's easier to like pick something that's maybe out of order and then kind of see if you can go back and then rearrange things. But it very much is like a puzzle, and it's not been it's been kind of common actually, where people have been like, why are you ignoring my message, why are you ignoring my message? And it's like, I'm sorry, but like you're talking about like juggling clowns in fucking Paris, and I'm talking about like I don't know, I'm talking about the meta text of like a Shakespearean play. Like we're not on the same level right now and that's fine. Sometimes the gap is just too wide to bridge in one smooth motion, but like if something is, you know, if something is really important, usually we come back to it, you know. And I will say there is a bit of that defiant streak that boils up in me if someone is like being quite demanding. And so in the past, maybe I've been a bit permissive. I can see the thread there. Honestly, yeah, I can see the thread there actually. But yeah, it's like, why are you ignoring my message about cooking chicken nuggets? Chicken nuggets on the hood of a car with my dogs out. Literally, it's honestly, it's funny, and like I honestly can't blame people when they inquire. And this doesn't really happen with you guys. Like, to be honest, I think this is mainly people that are just visiting and they haven't really clocked the vibe yet. But yeah, I think in general, the more someone demands to be read out loud, the more I get that resistant pull, because it's like, I don't know, just imagine doing that in real life. Like going up to someone who's like giving a speech and being like, hello, message me, talk to me, why are you ignoring me? And it's like, bro, I'd probably get to you like if you just chill the fuck out. So the big long paragraph. That's so funny. Oh gosh, I can't believe you remember those fucking inside jokes. But yeah, I don't know. In the past, I've been able to laugh it off. Because here's the thing, actually, and I don't really mind this, to be honest, but there is, however you slice it, I think more of a pressure, what's the word? Duty, necessity maybe, for someone like the streamer to exercise a grace or a graciousness that maybe, let's say, a random audience member does not have to. Does not have to? Is that even syntax? Anyway, do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that also applies to trolls and stuff. Because the thing is, like, it's a lose-lose when it comes to trolls. Because obviously they just want a reaction. And so even if you quite rightfully condemn them or like make fun of them sometimes, which I know some streamers like to do that, they're still getting what they want, which is recognition, right? If someone says something like, oh, I can't even think of something trolling to say, oh, your shirt is ugly. Like if I said something like, hey, that's not very nice, even if that may be true, that's not very nice to say, like they're still getting positive reinforcement from that. So really the only thing to do is ignore it. But sometimes that's not a good thing to do either, because they might just continue their rampage, right? It's something I haven't quite perfected and something I'd like to work on, but it's so infrequent that it's hard. Thankfully, I don't really get much practice in. But yeah, you have no obligations to read every nonsensical message. That's a nice thing to say. But yeah, it's like, I do feel bad, because I don't want to purposely or even unintentionally make someone feel like they're being ignored or like that I don't care about what they have to say. Because that's not true at all. And in fact, there are 99.9999999% of the time, the conversations that we have here are enriched deeply by the insights that you guys share. And so it's hard. I don't know how how to do it as graciously as maybe I should. Also applies to Discord as well. You know, it's a whole thing. The World Enjoyer, this is for you. Ready? Ding. I'm sorry if the camera's still blurry. It is a balancing act. That's absolutely right. If Emmy finds me boring, she can tell me. I can take it. That's quite funny, Cody, because you're one of the least boring people that I've ever met. So you should feel rest assured in that. But it's just, yeah, it's one of those things. I'm quite thankful, actually, that I do get such infrequent practice with dealing with trolls. It's a testament to how, like, I don't know, how welcoming and sweet this place really is. But it's also, in a funny way, a bit of a double-edged sword, because when trolls do come in, whether it's like in the chat directly, sometimes you guys don't even see the messages because the auto mod catches it before it even shows up, but I can still read it. And some of that stuff was pretty like horrific, to be honest. I don't want to get too into it. It's just unnecessarily like a downer. But like, yeah, some of that stuff, because I've had such infrequent practice, it maybe cuts a little bit more, because it's like, oh shit, I didn't even know people could even think those thoughts in their brain, let alone decide to say that to someone that they've never met. Or like, yeah, just not having built up that armor or thicker skin. Because here's the thing, like in real life, in general, I don't know if I'd consider myself to have thick or thin skin. I think it's something I've been working on, actually. Like, it's something I've been purposely trying to, like, improve about myself. It's easy to take things too personally, to the detriment of perhaps your insanity, right? But sometimes you just can't fucking help it, you know? But yeah, it's like, it's just one of those things. It comes with the territory, unfortunately. Not to excuse it or say that that makes it right, but like, I haven't trained for this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, most streamers haven't trained for this. They're not media trained and know how to expertly diffuse that kind of situation. And so there will be like stumbles and like awkwardness, and sometimes me dealing with things in not really the best type of way. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys are extremely gracious and have probably a supernatural amount of patience when it comes to those situations. Like, I think yesterday, doing so good for your first time on Earth, kiddo. It's so funny that you say that, because when I was talking to my therapist the very last session that we had, she said something so similar. She was like, sometimes when I get overwhelmed, I just think about the fact that everyone around me is also living their first life, or at least their first remembered life here on Earth. And it's like, it kind of is the great equalizer in a way. Because yeah, we're all just like stumbling about, trying to figure out how to hopefully do as little damage as possible. It's my second time around. No excuses. Oh fuck, that's funny. You guys are so funny, man. I did miss that a lot, actually. Fuck. No excuses, Melodies. It's your third sea locket. Well, oh my gosh, you should be so practiced by now. And so, you know, it's a nice way to hold a little bit of extra, I keep using the word grace, it's the only one I can really think of, because sometimes it can be easy to snap, or like, be like, oh, I can't believe that person said that. Shouldn't they know better? Like, shouldn't they not be a little snot-nosed brat and just like not say that, not call my shirt ugly? But you know, sometimes I have to like do this process in my brain where I'm like, okay, maybe this is like a kid that snuck onto their computer, like, you know, who's not even meant to be on Twitch and is just like trying to get a rise out of someone random. Maybe this person like isn't that great with social skills, or like they don't realize what they're saying is actually less playful and more hurtful, right? And so I go through those scenarios in my brain and try to like just let it melt away any of that lingering, whatever the word is. Like, you know, when you lose faith in humanity, the apathy or like cynicalness, because I think something of importance would be lost in my life if I just completely succumbed to that cynicalness, which I think maybe other streamers, potentially even rightfully, would give themselves over to. But yeah, It's just one of those things. Yeah, if I get reincarnated, my therapist will probably send me a bill for this life. It's true. Oh gosh. It's like probably, yeah, probably a big bill, let's be real. Um, but yeah, I think I'm pretty lucky because, to be honest, the majority of the criticisms that have been levied against this channel are mainly like she talks too much and gets too deep. It's like, oh, that's not even that much of an insult actually. Or like ignoring the chat. But again, it's like that's kind of a logistical thing at a certain point. How can you not? And I guess lastly, actually, maybe the topics as well. This is not something that has been a common sentiment, at least not to my face, at least. But I think maybe sometimes there's that weariness or like exasperation with the types of topics that we talk about here, especially as it pertains to like the more horny stuff or like the the Elvis stuff or the mystery crush and all that. And I can see why. Like I think I'm sympathetic to maybe the fatigue that might come from that. Though I don't really have any defense actually, other than just saying, well, like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of what the channel's about. It's like if you don't want like this girl yapping about like just horny stuff, don't watch the girl who proclaims to only be yapping about horny stuff and Elvis. That's just my thoughts. But it really is a marker of the just chatting kind of situation. But like specifically, the one thing I just don't get is like when people come to a specific place that's like advertised in a very like overt way, and they're like, why are you doing the thing that you said explicitly that you would do? Fuck me, I guess. It's like, what did you expect? It's like, girl talks about thirsty poetry. Did you expect for me to be here doing fucking chess puzzles? Sorry, I'm getting riled up. Yeah, this paintball course is a terrible bowling alley. That is the best fucking thing that I've read all day. It's true, and it's like, that's the part that gets me, because it's like, it just feels like it's a lose-lose for me, because what am I supposed to say? Like, oh, yeah, you're right, let me totally change up the whole vibe. This is the face of me no understand. People used to being tricked, I mean. Oh gosh. That's so funny. But it's like, it's one of those things. And I don't mean to complain. I know this has been just me complaining this whole time. Because it's done with this more like exasperated lovingness. Because this is really just the minute percentage of people that maybe have said this or like implied as much. And so, yeah, I came here to learn how to change my car transmission, shaking my head. And so rest assured, this again is very much like the fringe of what actually happens here. This has been on my mind on and off, I think, because it's one of the criticisms, or these criticisms are what trolls usually go to first, right? And it's like, to me, it's always seemed really overtly obvious. Like, yeah, girl yaps, girl's horny, girl talks about Elvis. Like, you know what I mean? It just seems like very, like, yeah. That's kind of, it's exactly as it says on the tin. Maybe to other people, it doesn't look that way. I'm not sure. It's hard because I want to see through the eyes of those people making those criticisms and where it maybe comes from. Maybe it seems too one note sometimes, which I think is fair. And in fact, before I had that big break, I think I was feeling it too. Like I didn't have too much new stuff to say, and maybe that was coming through in like a sense of like tedious repetition. But it's really when people like surprised by something that to me seems not really that surprising. That's when I get like question mark, question mark, question mark. But yeah. See, Lockett, you don't have to apologize. This is all just like, still, at the end of the day, this is all very like kind of self-conceited, you know? And I probably shouldn't think about it as much like as I do. But yeah. Terrible admission, but I come here because my brain works similarly to Emmy's. That is, like, actually an indictment. Like, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry if that is the case. Though it's quite funny because, like, I feel like we do seem to get each other on a deeper level, like really personal level. And I mean that for a lot of you guys, where it's just like, you take the words right out of my mouth / brain. And it's an incredible privilege because, like, where else can you get something like that? Where you just seem to find someone completely and directly on your wavelength. That's a blessing, right? However unhinged that wavelength may be. So you could talk about pocket lint and I'd stay. That's very nice. But yeah, anyway, that's just my that's my kind of brief thoughts on that. But yeah. Do you all feel this way? Do your brains work similarly? I'd love to know. But yeah. She knows about the device. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll be more like upfront about it maybe in the future. Like, if those criticisms get brought up. I shouldn't even use the word criticism. Maybe it's not that deep. Comments? I don't know. Anyway. Because I always feel like indignant not about being criticized, but about how lacking in substance the criticisms seem to be. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to criticize, do it right. Like, there's so much about me that you could criticize. Like, there's a whole fucking laundry list. Like, you open it, it just goes, like, all the way to the street over. But when it's, like, kind of the low-hanging fruit, I'm like, you can do better, you know? But yeah, anyway. Let me show you guys the fit for today. It actually is different. See, I'm upholding the rules. It's a massive ass t-shirt. And when I say massive, I mean massive. Like, and I don't even know what it says. Wait, what does it say? Can anyone read that? Original pet. Wait, what does it say? Original something? This used to be my uncle's. And yeah, this is like, I could probably do like something like tie it up or something, but I'm just letting it hang, you know? It does look a bit like the Coca-Cola label. It does. Because my like uncle and auntie, they're like doing some not spring cleaning and not renovations, but like redecorating, kind of refurnishing. They took out a bunch of their old stuff, old clothes, old furniture, and some of the stuff that they didn't want. They're just like, oh, do you want some? And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And Cody says, Emmy, I can't fully explain what it is about your streams that keep me here. Oh, wait, I do. It's Emmy put me in a cage and threw away the key. I'm sorry, I lost the key. That's the thing. Oh, that's very sweet. Authentic. Yeah. Something. Ugh. I did not steal. I did not steal this. It's funny, a lot of my, like, clothes and, like, toys, is that even a good word? Belongings have been, like, hand-me-downs, which I'm very grateful for. In fact, a lot of them have been from you guys too. And I'm sure there could be a fucking hour-long compilation made from me showing something and being like, oh yeah, so this was a gift from blah, blah, blah. And it's like, sometimes I feel a bit self-conscious because I'm like, first of all, are people going to even believe me at this point? Even if it's like literally true. Like sometimes you just think, okay, sure, like change the record. And other times it's just like, are people going to think I'm bragging, you know? Because maybe it is a bit of a brag, but it's like, it's never meant to be a self facing brag. It's meant to be an outwards facing brag. Like, look how wonderful and generous these friends of mine are. Where's the bully me shirt? I don't think we ever got that, actually. It was just on Throne. That's funny. Maybe for the best, I don't know. But yeah, like, so many times, and I'm even looking around right now, and to be honest, most of the stuff, like, if I had to put a percentage on it, over half of the things that I have are actually from, like, gifts or, like, hand-me-downs, if that makes sense. So not explicitly gifted, but kind of, like, inadvertently gifted, in a way. And I'm very grateful for that. And in a way, it's kind of something that I prefer because, like, I mean, of course, sustainability is paramount, right? But it's like, I think that there's something kind of special in an object that's been passed down, if that makes sense. Now, of course, I do have a few new things as well that I've just purchased for my own self, or like things that have been purchased for me. A lot of my makeup is that way, actually. So I have, you guys see this? My Let's Makeup bag. It's basically all new stuff. Like, it's kind of a bit etsy-getsy to get used makeup or like secondhand makeup. Though even then, I've been gifted some new stuff. So I know I've told this story before, but like one time when my cousin and his like fiance at the time, I think now wife actually, they came to visit from Greece, and she'd never met us before. Like, they'd never met us. But they brought with them a whole bunch of like little travel-sized gifts just to give out to all their cousins and stuff. And they gifted me like a kind of little makeup set with Burberry makeup, which for those of you who don't really know, which is totally fine because I didn't even know this, Burberry's like a very expensive brand. And it was just travel size, so it was like kind of like a tester essentially. And do I even still have I probably still have the fucking tube because I didn't want to get rid of it. I do. This is it. This is it. Please. Am I going to get this to focus? Please. See, this is why I could never be an actual fucking YouTuber, guys. Come on, camera. Okay, wait. Do I go in or out? What the fuck? I don't fucking know how to do this, guys. That's ridiculous. It says Burberry on it. It's kind of rubbed off now at this point. And so... Oh, it's funny. Did I just move my camera too much? In the UK, it's actually seen as a low-class brand. That's fascinating. I don't know, like, I feel like here it's seen as high class, but maybe that's just, like, me. That's fascinating. Anyway, I still have it. I still have the tube. You'll just have to believe me that it is. I don't know if you can kind of make it out from here. And I was a little bit, like... not hesitant to try it, but I was like nervous, and I was like, oh, is it true that expensive brands are really that much better than the regular price brands? But then I tried this mascara and I was like, oh my god, this is the best mascara that I've ever used. There's something about the shape of it and like the pigment inside that was just so perfect. And so I used every single last drop of that mascara until it was like literally bone dry, and I didn't even throw out the tube because I like liked it so much. And I was like, fuck. It's one of those rare instances where the expensive product, is actually better than the more like affordable drugstore range. Like this one is one that I bought for myself afterwards, and it's okay. It was like $1 or so, which is a pretty good deal. But it's just not the same. And so that's what I mean about being gifted things that are new. But in general, like, yeah, most of the stuff that I have, over half is like hand-me-downs and gifts, which is an incredible thing. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, objects with provenance tell stories. That is a beautiful and poetic way to put it. There's just something extra special about it. And like, even if I could choose between two of the exact same item, one that has been like one that's new and one that has been owned by like someone that I care about, like I think I would choose the pre-owned one. which is funny. Maybe that's a common sentiment, but definitely not in like my auntie especially. She hates the idea of using something that someone else has already owned, even just like a t-shirt, for example. And she specifically hates going to the thrift store because, and this is something that I've told her is ridiculous, by the way, so I don't think she'll mind me saying it here. She doesn't like going to the thrift store because she assumes that all the clothes there are from like deceased estates. You know what I mean? Which, even like, okay, there's so much to unpack there, right? But like, she's like, I don't want to wear some dead person's clothes. And I'm like, okay, first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, I'm pretty sure they wash all the clothes. Yeah, it doesn't mean that they were wearing it. I've tried, guys. I've tried so many times to explain this to her. But I think, okay, we love Auntie even if she's crazy. That's exactly it. It's funny because I honestly, I love her to pieces. I'm not kidding when I say that I would literally put my life on the line for her. And she would hate for me to say that, but it's true. I would lay myself on the train tracks for her, right? And still, even I can acknowledge that she can be fucking crazy. And when I say that, I don't say that lightly. Because, like, she's... think about the kind of mind that it took to create Pat Thick. And then you're kind of on the right track to uncovering the depths of her craziness, right? And so... she's an eccentric character. She is the wackiest person I've ever met, sometimes to the point where even I get, like, exasperated, right? Still. As much as I tease her about, like, those kinds of weird, like, eccentric habits that she has, I do think that it's more to do with a borderline, like, germophobic thing, which I know that, what a word, as opposed to something more based in like actual logic. Like it seems like the justification comes after the revulsion, if that makes sense. As for the line, that is a fantastic fucking question. I honestly think, I haven't asked her that, but I'll ask her what she thinks about. I don't think she would have, she would wear earrings that were used, which I guess makes sense. There is like a bit of extra like hygiene related things when it comes to that, but watches is a fantastic one. And maybe bracelets and stuff like that. She is a bit of a germaphobe, which I know is crazy. Oh god, yeah, germophilia is the only thing we stand for around here. Exactly, so like polar opposites. But literally, yeah, my auntie being like, I don't want to be wearing some dead guy's clothes, and me just having to unwrap the many layers of like what the fuck that actually is. Like, okay. She doesn't even want to wear clothes that were in the same house as a person who could have died, not even in that house. So it's like, okay, that's what she thinks all thrifted clothes are. Anyway, that's just to illustrate how, like, my take on, like, used or, like, secondhand items is not the norm, at least in my family. Though I think it's probably pretty common in people my age. Like, thrifting is a cool thing, right? Yeah, and I've donated so many clothes as well. I've donated bags and bags and bags of clothes. And the fact that she can't really put those things together, like, I just don't know. You win some, you lose some is true. No way. Oh, Brip, welcome in. Yeah, so it's like, it's funny because I think she knows that the justification is kind of flimsy. But it's just a shorthand way for her to be like, I just don't want to engage with that at all, right? Which is fair. She has had specific other instances of like that germophobic kind of proclivity as well. Like she doesn't like to drink from the same cup like twice. Like, you know, if there's a cup of water on the bedside table, for instance, she doesn't want to leave that like more than one night, which I think is pretty normal actually. I would probably not like to do that either, unless it's like closed, like a bottle, like a water bottle instead of like a glass. But it's just little things like that. And it's funny because instead of just like living, like owning up to it and being like, I'm a germaphobe, I just don't want to think about wearing other people's clothes, she would like somehow find a way to justify it, which is the funny part to me. It's like, okay, all right, I see how it is. But yeah, anyway, let me try and adjust this. I think I messed it up before. Are all clothes in the thrift stores clean? Well, I think they're meant to clean it, and they also say before you donate, you should clean them. But who's to know? That's the kind of scary thing. I always wash my clothes when I buy them secondhand. Though nowadays, because I have so many, as you can see here, there's quite a few there, and there's also quite a few in those cupboards that you can't see. There's also more, like, oh my God, in those drawers and in the garage, there's too many. I made a pact with myself, which I've more or less kept to. Like, because I've still gotten clothes, but I haven't bought them myself, so it kind of is like a cheat. But I've been gifted them, like I was talking about, and also like I've found clothes in my like my parents' house. It's okay, it's a whole thing. So I've made a resolution, kind of, not a strict one, where I don't buy any more new clothes for my own self because I just have so many. I have so many. Like that's why we started this this challenge, the outfit challenge, because I was literally trying to like tell myself, okay, how many outfits could I probably wear in a row without repeating, without necessitating a repetition? And when I came to the conclusion that I could probably clear a whole entire year without breaking a sweat, that's when the deep shame set in. And I was like, I need to change. The thing is, and here's a flimsy justification, because I still have this store, but I don't really use it as much anymore. But I used to like kind of like sell my clothes secondhand as well, like kind of flip them. Not really flipping, but you know what I mean. Like I take some of my old wardrobe items and sell them, make room for new ones, you know, like the cycle continues. Because I could kind of justify it to myself then, right? But nowadays, because that's kind of dried up, it's just like clothes coming in, but no clothes going out. So, yeah, I had to put a stop to it. And so, you sell everything for $9.85. That's funny. I was doing pretty well because I not only sold clothes that I like had already like pre-owned and pre-loved, but I also sold a couple of things that my grandma actually stitched up and made. Like there was these dresses, this like gingham checkered dresses. I could probably get a photo of them. That I had my grandma make based on a pattern of one of my favorite dresses at the time. And I was like, this is a really kooky outfit because it was like pink on the front, purple on the back, very kind of like, what's the word? Kind of like Little Red Riding Hood, that style, which sounds really abstract, but you'll see what I mean. I thought this might either sit in my store for fucking years and years and never get touched by anyone with a 10-foot pole, or someone with my exact taste might come along and just snatch it up instantly. And so what ended up happening actually was that it did sit in my store for quite a while. It was probably about a year actually, which is a very long time for stuff like that. It was a long enough time for me to be like, oh, I guess I made a mistake. And I was starting to feel kind of bad because, you know, I'd made my grandma make this dress for me thinking that it would sell, right? And so I was a little bit sheepish and a little bit embarrassed actually. But then I got this really massive transaction that had gone through, like kind of, I think it was overnight, if I'm not mistaken. And it wasn't just that dress that someone had bought, but they bought that specific dress and a couple of other pink and like purple colored like shirts, I think it was. And so they clearly were interested in that whole like aesthetic, right? And the total was like hundreds of dollars. I was like, holy shit. My store does have a name. I'm not sure if I should share it because it's like, it's kind of embarrassing. It's like me trying to be a fucking model and shit like that. And so it's still there. That's the thing. I haven't really given it that much attention because it needs a lot of attention. The thing with Depop is that like if you're not constantly posting or even just at least relisting, you kind of just like fall into obscurity, right? And so I just kind of let it sit there because there's no harm in just having it exist, right? Yeah, the neglect is actually, it's so real. And so it's still there. One day, I don't know if I should like just share it and be like, well, here it is. The thing is, I only really post Australia-wide because the international shipping, it's painful, guys. It's honestly like double the entire amount of the actual like listing itself. Anyway, so yeah, there's a bunch of pictures of me trying to be like some self independent model. And it's so embarrassing. Oh god, it's so embarrassing. But you know, like it it was actually doing all right ish. And also back when I was like mainly like focused on it, I think in general I looked different in a way. I will recreate some of those pics in just a second, and I can show you even some of those pictures. But like this was pretty much during the peak of the pandemic, where especially here in Victoria, where I live, we had some of the strictest lockdown rules ever. And I know I've talked about this before. Please forgive me for repeating myself. And let me take a drink so I'm not just holding this. But there really wasn't that much to do when we were literally forced to stay inside. The only reasons we were sanctioned to go outside was if we had to go to like a necessary workplace thing, like something you can't do from home, or if you had to go grocery shopping or school. And then there were a couple of extenuating circumstances. So for the most part, the entirety of Victoria / Melbourne, more specifically, was stuck inside. And it had its ups and downs, of course. But what really else is there to do besides just like get sucked into like some online, like, I don't know, some online hobby for me that was like fashion related, just posing and stuff. And because, yeah, there wasn't really that much to do, like my body looked different. I think I was younger and maybe a bit leaner, I don't know. And yeah, it was just like this fun little thing where I'm like, no one's ever going to see this. And so that's why some of those pictures are just like, they look so cringe. But I'll see if I can find the dress, because that dress is so gorgeous, and it's something that my grandma literally made from scratch. So I'm so proud of her. And I was so relieved actually when it did sell, because I was so confident in myself until it just sat there and sat there and sat there. Excuse me. And of course I ended up giving her like, I think I tried to give her the full amount of like the price that I had put the dress up for, but she didn't really like accept it. Like I was begging and pleading for her too, but I think we either like halved it or we figured something out so that she could actually accept it. So this is the dress, and you'll see my name there. It's fine. I don't really mind. Is this gonna work? See, how am I supposed to learn how to... Okay. Please. Please. Guys, this is tragic. Oh my god. How could any project be more questionable than the Undertale fanfic? Surely you peaked with that. First of all, the psychic damage just from reading those words. I forgot that I even shared that with you guys. Oh my god. I didn't even show you guys that last chapter of it. Oh no. No, it's all coming back to me. It's all coming back. Okay. Let's focus on, no pun intended. Let's focus on this camera first, and then we can get back into that. I don't know why it's not, like, it's meant to be changing its focus, but it seems like it is fixed. Wait, is it changing? It should be focusing on my nails when I do that. That's weird. Like a Vietnam vet having flashbacks. Oh god. I'm actually sweating. I don't know if you guys can... I'm fucking sweating. Oh no. Oh no. This is why I you know what? I think a fun stream idea would be if we had like a literal IT guy over and like just to like sit in. And just like fix anything that goes wrong. Like the many things that go wrong during a stream. Like I'm pretty sure this should be focusing on my nice nails, but it's not. What if I... See, I'm nervous because every time I try and fix something, it usually goes horribly wrong, like last stream. So... Oh, fuck. What did I just do? What did I just do? That's weird. Wait, what if I zoom out? Wait, does that look more focused? What if I zoom in? That's as far as it goes. Red dot, it's on side type beat. That's me in my old bedroom. Posing. I can post in the Discord though. Phase 4 involves a permanent IT person waiting in the corner on standby. Literally. Can you guys see how much I'm sweating? I'm turning off my heater. Oh god. At least it looks a little bit more focused. Is that just me? Is that my wishful thinking? Sorry, I just got like psychically one-shotted by the mention of that Undertale fanfic. That sound was my heater turning off. Ding 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 ding. I really have shared way too much on this channel, haven't I? Oh god. Anyway, I do need to figure out, like, maybe we ended up, like, keeping it a fixed focus so it doesn't constantly go, like, but it's, like, a little bit annoying if I want to show things close up, unless I zoom in. I've given you the next topic to work through with your psych. I know, right? Holy shit. I don't even know if I can bring that up. They might put me somewhere. Oh, fuck me. They might just put me somewhere. Like, then you'll really never see me again, guys. You haven't shared enough? Just don't tell them you wrote it in high school. I feel like that's the only saving grace, though it's too late in high school for it to really be that much of a redemption. Like, when was it? You 10 or 11? I should have just straight up lied and been like, yeah, I wrote this when I was like, you know, in year 7. Just a little 12-y, you know? Your brain was too developed. Oh, fuck me. That's funny. Yeah. I have no defense. Ahead of its time. Jordan, welcome in, welcome in. The accent. G'day, mate. How you going? What's going on, mate? Yeah, you want to pop down to the servo or this arvo? Maybe we can get some avo. Sorry, I shouldn't wield and weaponize my Australianness like that. Affirmations, yes, of course, we'll do affirmations today. Ketchup on a bacon sandwich. Ketchup, it's tomato sauce, mate. It's bloody tomato sauce, mate. On a bacon sandwich, though, that I can get behind. Sorry, this is going wildly off track. One-shotted by fucking dirty fanfic. It's funny because if I did go through my old diaries, it'd probably be way more like incriminating shit there. Oh, if you can believe it. But yeah, Emmy being so Aussie, why do I love it so? Yeah, like there's something, it's funny because internationally I think the Australian accent is kind of seen as like, ooh, a little bit exotic, a little bit sexy. But to me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like, what's going on, mate? It's so like, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's nasally, at least the way I do it. And yeah. It's interesting though, because this is not purposeful. Maybe even subconscious, but people always have told me that my Australian accent is maybe a bit sanded down the edges. Like it sounds like a mix of something. Even though, like I said, when I was younger, I was literally the most bogan of bogans, which here is like the Australian word for like redneck or hillbilly. Forgive my French. It's like, yes, I'm Australian. And so like when I was younger, like, oh mom, can we please go on the swings, please? Bloody hell, mom, I really want to go on the swings. And like, I don't know. I think it was just a matter of going to school. Like, they kind of, I don't know, they teach it out of you, or just like listening to other people talk while being on a little bike. Yeah. It's like, it's so funny because literally those childhood videos, like the home movies that we used to make, it sounds like a completely different person. And there's something endearing about it for sure. Nowadays, I don't really notice my own accent unless it's either pointed out or like I'm with someone with a different accent. But I've always been told it's got that little like a hint of something else, maybe British influence, which is fine. I think that's cool. But then people ask me sometimes if this is my real voice, my real accent, and I'm like, do you think I would choose this on purpose? Mate, you think I'd fucking choose this? No. No. I wouldn't. I'd probably choose something more refined, like British English. But yeah. No. Fuck me. But I will say, despite the kind of shade that I throw at my own accent, some of the phrases that we have, holy shit. The phrases. Some of my favorite phrases, they're not really that appropriate, but they are quite funny. Like, one that I use a lot is fuck me dead. Like if something's like extraordinary or something takes you by surprise. There's another one that's even more like vulgar, I guess you could say. It's like fuck me with a telephone pole. There's one where it's like fuck me sideways. They all involve some pretty explicit acts. But it's just like the creativity and the hyperbole is quite funny, and like I think I can relate in a way, hear me out, to the extremeness of it. Like when regular words really can't suffice, so you have to go for the most extreme thing. Fuck me sideways with a telephone pole. Yeah, very strong imagery. Oh my gosh, but yeah, it's quite funny. The way you say no, you can tell you and Keechi sisters. It's funny because, yeah, visibly upset, you're so right that the no has kind of become a bit of a meme, like worldwide, which is funny and it's very endearing. Like the fact that people find it funny or like, I don't know, they find it fun to do is kind of cute. And it's like, we're not doing it to be cute or like to put it on. That's literally how we say no. It's got extra letters in it. And it's hard, like, I'm trying to imagine how I'd say it if I weren't Australian. No. How do you guys say no? No? Like, no? Like, like, that just doesn't make sense. And yeah, so it's like the yeah, nah, mate. Yeah, nah, mate. Yeah, nah, yeah. That's also another meme, and it's like a true meme. Like, it's actually how we talk sometimes. So yeah, nah is like no, and nah, yeah is like yes. Just a little translation guide for you. Would you find it offensive if someone asked you if there are big scary bugs in your house? Honestly, thankfully here in Victoria, especially where I live, there's not really that many crazy bugs. People always think about the many different deadly things in Australia that could kill you. Though I will say in like the more like tropical section of Australia, like in the top area, especially like Queensland and stuff like that, the bugs, the cockroaches, visible gulp. They're like something out of a fucking like Fallout movie. You know, like the nuclear wasteland cockroaches. That's actually what they fucking look like. And maybe this is just like my biased opinion because the last time I was in Queensland, or like the time where I saw those bugs was when I was like younger. So maybe they seemed extra scary, but they're massive and they don't die. Like they will literally outlive us all. They'll outlive a zombie apocalypse. They'll outlive a nuclear wasteland. They're pretty resilient. And so thankfully down here, like, cause I'm in like the bottom part of the country, of the mainland, I should say, cause I don't live in Tassie. We're pretty, like, we're in a sweet spot. So there's not many bugs. I've only seen a snake a few times, like in the wild, that is. And it's not really something that you come across in your daily life. Some people think, oh my God, blimey. Oh, crikey, mate. Like, do you take kangaroos to school? And it's like, that was one time. No, we don't take kangaroos to school. That'd be kind of cool. We don't take emus to school, though we did lose the war to them. That is true. And yeah, in general, it's like, unless you're going out of your way, you won't see that kind of wildlife, right? Those, the mosquitoes. Yeah, it's like, it's a whole thing. And so, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, matey. It's nice, and I think it's quite cute that the rest of the world seems to like some of the affectations. Though I do agree, at times it's a bit like, it's a bit like another language, even though we're speaking English. And so, if you guys ever hear a piece of Australian slang and you don't know what it means, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to translate. Because some of them can be quite like, what the hell does that mean? So I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head, but I can't think of one. Anyway. Yeah, nah, yeah. Good morning, cool vibing. Yeah. If I could choose my accent, maybe I'd choose something like French, something sexy. Like, I don't know. I can't hear the sexiness in the Australian accent. It just seems a little bit, like, grating. But yeah, slang is a good one. I love how all these are getting caught by the auto mod as well, even though they're not really that bad. Bogan is a good one. Yeah, so internationally, it's kind of like white trash or redneck. I don't know how, what's the word? Like, how bad these words are to say, you know, like how offensive they are. But here, bogan is kind of just like something, like you could say it playfully or you could say it a bit more derogatorily, like, oh, look at that bloody bogan drinking a VB long neck at 20 to fucking 8 in the morning. Oh, anyway. Yeah, so, excuse me. I don't mean to offend. Like, I'm not sure, because I know redneck has its own connotations. Even white trash can be a bit, like, loaded. But, yeah. Equivalent to the most insane thing you could say. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I think we're starting ads in a sec. Wow, it's gone pretty quickly, huh? I might actually also blow my nose in that time. And I know I really have to get the rest of my assets back, so it's not just a freaking black screen. Sorry. Thank you, Sea Locket, for the hydrate. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this stream so far. And, you know, I showed up even though I was really late. I was trying fruitlessly to actually get my shit back together. But the issue is I have to move all my assets from one. I sound like a fucking like stock market bro or whatever. I have to move all like the pictures and songs and videos that I was using in my old OBS into my new computer. It takes a bit of work. Yeah, keep my word most of the time. Better late than never, hence the title. Oh, have we started ads? Maybe it got paused. No, nevertheless, I'll be right back. I just need to do something rather uncouth. There we go. Whiskey Tango for white trash. That's hilarious. I've actually never heard that before. As for the to-do list of the stream, I want to focus on fixing the camera so it's not so blurry. I'm also going to fix this part so it's not just like a black bar there. Because I know this camera does the right aspect ratio. I don't know why it's in a square format right now. Sometimes I just, yeah, I play around with something and inadvertently break it and then forget how to put it back to normal. Cody says, cool news. My mom's turning 65 and she's retiring. So we're having a party for both of those things. Congratulations and happy birthday to your mom. That is fantastic. And honestly, my parents retired a couple years back now. My mom actually got to retire early, which was really an incredible blessing. And it is literally like the start of the best parts of life. So I'm sure she's going to have a wonderful, wonderful time in her, new retired lifestyle. Please pass on my well wishes. And she's, yeah, and a birthday to top it all off. But I'm sure she's still like not a day over 21. You should tell her that too. Yeah, congrats to Mama Cameron. It's like, it's honestly, it's kind of fucked up that we even have to structure our lives in such a way that requires retirement anyway. But to take what we can get is, I think, a good way to go about it. And so I'm so glad and so happy. I know that my parents, like my dad in particular, he worked his ass off. Like, we've talked about it, but like he worked so hard that it essentially almost killed him. Like he had a heart attack. And I know that there's a bunch of like complicated factors that went into that too. But a lot of the time, people work so hard that they just burn themselves out. Sometimes pretty severely, hopefully not irreparably. But yeah, it's like one of those things where retirement is not just a marker of how hard you've worked over the years, but it's also just like that well-earned rest. And so I'm very happy, and I hope she has a wonderful birthday. You better get her a great present. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she handles it. She loves her job so much. Oh, that's a sweet spot then. Because like it's kind of like now she can choose if she wants to engage with her like profession or like a hobby adjacent to her profession without being in a way coerced, if that makes sense. Whether it's like through financial obligations or otherwise. But yeah, I can't wait. I feel like you're gonna have a fantastic time, and you have to tell me about like whatever cake you guys end up having, because that's usually the it's usually the part that interests me quite thoroughly. So anyway, cake. Yeah, I know, right? There's one thing about me. If I were literally to go into a coma, sorry, that's kind of dark. If a magic fairy were to come up to me and like erase all my memories of myself, I think I would still have a sweet tooth buried in there somewhere. I think I also get that from my dad. Like, I've joked before that I don't just have a sweet tooth, but all my teeth are sweet. And it's probably one of my biggest vices, I'm not gonna lie. Which, again, it's not terrible. Like, considering how many vices there are out there and how damaging those can be, like drinking or smoking, or like, yeah, gambling, for instance. Those things, despite having a bit of an addictive personality, those things never really held my attention captive for very long. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't really gamble, like, not in earnest. And so, unless you consider like video game and that kind of thing, anyway, it's a whole thing. But sweets, it's like my Achilles heel, my Achilles tooth. And so it's yeah, this is gonna sound really bad. I don't even know if I should say this. But more often than not, and thank you very much for following. I just heard that actually, so maybe the sound is working. It just is too quiet. I shouldn't say this because it's probably going to make me seem really sad, but I'd say over 50% of the time when I wake up every single day, the first thought that I have is like, should I get a milkshake today? Or like replace milkshake with whatever sweet treat I'm craving. And it's literally the first thought. Like, before I even open my eyes, I'm like, let's say I've just woken up, like I'm in bed. I'm like, oh, I'm awake. Milkshake? Caramel thick shake. I'm like, oh, should I make a caramel thick shake? Wait, do I even have the ingredients? Maybe I should go to the store and get the ingredients. Maybe I should go to the store and get the actual thick shake itself. Or if I go there, then I could probably get some chocolate. And it's like, it's horrible. And more often than not, I would say I just push those thoughts aside, or a mango blast. Oh God, don't get me started. But it's like, it's funny how just frequent the thoughts are, right? I've never had a malt shake. I don't think, at least. I could be lying about that, but I can't remember exactly because I'm always so drawn to either the caramel or vanilla or mango tango bango. Um, I woke up with a ravenous desire to eat the leftover brownies in the fridge. A shameful breakfast did occur. I don't want to talk about it. Now you're speaking my language, and literally, I I know this about myself, and yet I still defy myself all the time. But I know that if there's like some sweet thing in the house, that it's going to be devoured. Like, it usually can't stay overnight. And so I try to have my sweet treats like out at the actual establishment or like at someone else's house, for instance. Or if I am bringing something home, it's like a single like serving, if that makes sense. Because it doesn't matter if I get a single serving or a fucking family size feast for 48, like it's going. So I have to like make sure that my past self is looking out for my future self. And sometimes it happens. So, fuck me, it's tragic. What if I am the sweet thing in the house? I have to eat myself. That's very cute. It's funny because it's like, it almost feels like a bit of a juvenile, like, vice to have. You know what I mean? But I think it's no less insidious. Like, don't get me wrong. And especially with how devastating I know that sugar actually can be. Oh, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate that. Oh, and I think did I miss something? A wink. This is for you, Rod. Ding. I know firsthand how bad sugar is for you. Like, it is, I've heard it be compared to alcohol in the way that it's metabolized in the liver. So it's like, I might as well, no, this is not true, but you know, the defeatist in me is like, I might as well just be drinking, you know, if I'm going to be having these fucking sugary things all day long. Take up gambling to seem more mature. Oh, fuck, that's funny. It's funny because it's like such a silly thing to worry about how juvenile one's vices are. But it's, you know, it's true. And I guess it's one of the lesser of those evils. Still, I don't want to get myself into trouble like down the track because I couldn't control myself, my sweet teeth, all of them at once. Speaking of forgetting things, smooth operator. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. There's, oh yeah, what other song? I was talking about Aladdin before. You ain't never had a friend like me. Have some of column A, try all of column B. I'm in the mood to help you, dude. You ain't never had a friend like me. You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend like me. Wow, 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 wow. Robin Williams, fucking love him. You ain't never had a friend like me. And because we can't play that song without getting like fucking smashed into oblivion with the band hammer, I can sing a very poor recreation of it. So, but yeah. Oh, Robin Williams. Yeah, I love Smooth Operator too, and I also love Oh, Rod, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that immensely. Oh wow. That just completed our goal. Thank you very much. I should sing you a song. After the Smooth Operator, I needed to gift a sub. Rod, no need to ask. We know that you're a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Mail. Though, please let it be known that I cannot compete with Sade in any metric, by the way. Like, literally. Sometimes, again, it's one of those things, I talked about this yesterday, where when looking at someone, like, in a TV show or whatever, and, like, having to turn my face away because they're so gorgeous that it actually makes me angry, I feel that way about Sade as well. And, like, in a vocal way about her singing abilities. Oh, it's so smooth. It's like butter. It just goes down like butter. And so enjoy the emotes. with hopefully some more to come as well, because there are a couple of extra slots. But yeah, there was a couple of other songs by Sade as well that I was getting into. Was it Soldier of Love? Fuck. It's been a while, actually, since I've really delved into that. Recently, I'm still on my Billy Joel train. I'll always be on my Billy Joel train. But getting into some, unsurprising, some pop, modern pop. Miley Cyrus with her new album. It's good. Easy Lover, fuck me. There was a couple of days in a row where that was all I played on repeat. You're not an easy lover. And just just listening to her voice and how it goes places so effortlessly. Just making me go, rolling my eyes. Yes, thank you, Melodies. Oh my God, you're literally on my wavelength today. Like her, I know she's quite a controversial figure, and sometimes her talent can be maybe overlooked by some of the craziness and like the whole ethos that surrounds the actual singer. But her vocals, and I agree, especially as she's gotten older, they're out of this world. Like, it's so mature and so fucking what's the word? Like, well controlled. It's incredible. And Wrecking Ball wrecked me. She did a cover of a whole song, and it was amazing to hear it sung by someone who can actually sing. Her voice. And I honestly, I completely agree if some people are like, maybe like, oh, she's not really my style, or maybe they're just like kind of not interested in all the theatrics like around her, right? But her voice, I don't think anyone could say in earnest that her voice is anything but like just magnificent. It's literally like an instrument of its own. Flowers is a great one. Easy Lover, if you guys haven't heard it, I know there's another song from like, is it the 80s? Don't quote me on that. That has the same title, and maybe there's a couple of echoes of it in there. Her voice is so good. And yeah, Billy Joel is news to me. Favorite Billy Joel song? Don't get me started, because I am going to... okay. River of Dreams. I don't know if that's cheesy. Oh, but I can't choose. Vienna? Oh, don't make me choose, please, please. The River of Dreams like hits me on a deeper level to the point where sometimes when I listen to it, my voice cracks while I'm singing because I get overwhelmed with emotion and I'm like that close to starting to cry just from what he's talking about / singing about. Vienna is one of those similar songs. Slow down, you crazy child. There's a couple of other ones. And this is something I talked about before, right? Yeah, I understand liking the early stuff. River of Dreams, especially that album. I was talking about the single. People think, for some reason, that album was not that well received, which I haven't really listened to the rest of the songs, so I can't really say. But the fact that it's kind of like, it's almost got that, like Lion King-esque feel. I woke up in the middle of the... I woke up in the middle of the... Always a Woman to me is fucking incredible. Pressure. You'll have to remind me how that one goes. I have a whole actual playlist here. I can probably pick some out for you. So Uptown Girl, Vienna, My Life, Piano Man, We Didn't Start the Fire, She's Always a Woman, River of Dreams, Just the Way You Are. Skipping the ones that I don't really know that well. Big Shot. Big Shot. So this is a story that I told when I first shared my Billy Joel love on stream, which was a while ago. I said, okay, I kind of brought up the fact that I'd always liked Billy Joel as a child without realizing, because so many of the songs that I liked sounded so different. I didn't realize they're all coming from one guy, him. And so when I was a kid, my dad used to pick myself and my siblings up from school and we'd listen to his preferred radio station, right? Which was like the golden oldies is what they called it. So basically music for old people, which is, you know, what can you say? And so there was a bunch of songs I used to listen to that I really liked. I didn't realize that the songs Big Shot, We Didn't Start the Fire, Vienna, and Uptown Girl were all from the same person. And then, so I kind of just like enjoyed those songs as they were and like went on with my life. And then it was only recently, like this year and a bit of last year, where I was getting more into songs specifically, looking at who actually like wrote them and performed them, being like, wait, Billy Joel, Billy Joel, Billy Joel. Huh? Okay, I just realized all these different songs were from this one guy, because it might just be me and maybe like being a kid not able to pick out some of those sounds as well, like with that kind of that careful, that careful ear. But feeling like the vibes were really different, and even the vocal treatment and performance was so different that it literally sounded like a different singer to me. And so realizing like, oh, all these different singers are actually one singer that I really, really enjoy. And the lyrics, they really just, they mean a lot to me, especially with songs like Vienna. And so I just, when it comes to like the boppiness of it and like the kind of the dip into spiritualism, The River of Dreams is one of my top favorites. Their Big Shot is so fun. It's so petty. It's like, no, you had to be a big shot, did you? It's like, it's kind of like a throwing shade before throwing shade was a thing in the form of a song. And the way that he is so playful with his voice in that song, it's something that playful quality is something I really, really like in a bunch of different artists. I think Elvis did it as well. Even modern artists like Omar Apollo does it, and Willow Smith as well, funnily enough, in her song, Wait a Minute, that song. God. I can't. My voice is too scratchy. I really like when singers aren't afraid to get weird with it and like do affectations, do little voices. We Didn't Start the Fire is fucking incredible. I see you guys are all chatters of taste. You're So Vain is incredible. Yeah, like songs that kind of throw shade. And what was it? You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette as well. Even then, those singers also play with their voices. And it's like, they may be delivering a message straight, right? But they're doing, like, they're delivering it in a way that's like got something else going on. Like, no, you had to be a big shot, did you? Had to open up your mouth. You had to be a big shot, did you? All your friends were so knocked out. Like, you can essentially hear the eye roll when he's singing. You had to have the last word last night. You know what everything's about. It's like, damn, I don't want to get on your bad side. And then You're So Vain is fucking incredible. You're so vain. I bet you think the song is about you. You're so vain. I feel like that has a very quintessential like 70s sound, especially with the what would you call it, like the harmonies, maybe, whatever treatment is on those vocals. And then with You Ought to Know, her voice is so raw. Yes, the performance is exactly what draws me to a lot of these songs. You're right, it can absolutely elevate the material. There's a successful singer but almost completely unknown in the English speaking world, Lara Fabian. Please do drop a link. That would be really interesting, because like that's I think sometimes the most important part for me, the actual performance. And so even if the like vocals themselves or like the tone is maybe even out of tune or like out of pitch sometimes, like if it's serving the performance, to me that's everything. And so with You Ought to Know, you ought to know, and I think her voice even cracks a few times. Would she go down on you in a theater? Like, what a line, right? Does she speak eloquently? And would she have your baby? I'm sure she'd make a really excellent mother. And it's like, you can hear the way she's fucking seething. You know, it's like, I just think, damn, if you're gonna go that hard, like, I can only stand. Oh gosh. As for the Discord, feel free to post in the, I think it's Cherry University, whichever audio section is labeled as, because it's like Cherry University is for other people's work, and then the Creative Corner is for an individual's work, like something you've actually made yourself. And I wanted to have that distinction, even though I knew it would be kind of confusing, because like I think it's pretty special to see what you guys have actually been making. But thank you very much for asking. That's very thoughtful. Polydactyl, you have an ex who wrote 2 songs about you. Sometimes I wonder if the songs got better after we broke up. Did she Taylor Swift me? That's so funny. I honestly think that, what's my stance on this? Writing about people, or like making art about people that you're involved with, or like even like family members that are in your life, I think is fair game. But I also think that it's fair enough if they end up being like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why did you write about me? Like, I thought that was safe, sacred stuff. But sometimes with certain artists, you can tell that they really just can't help themselves. Like, it's their way of making sense of the world, and fair enough, I guess. But yeah, performance is so massive for me. And so, yeah, all's fair in love and war. I think that Billy Joel, Miley Cyrus can also really go crazy with her performances. She's not afraid to push her voice. Lady Gaga as well. I've really enjoyed Lady Gaga's new album, Mayhem. And it's, in a way, this might just be my opinion. Feel free to like yell at me for being wrong, because I actually want to know like dissenting opinions. I think that Lady Gaga may have actually suffered from success with her latest album, because I know it was fucking massive, right? But the thing is, her single with Bruno Mars it went gangbusters. Like, it was so fucking huge that it was almost to the detriment of her album, which was still really successful. But it's like, it's kind of like she's so good at what she does that it tends to get a little bit like blurry. Like, once you're that famous and prolific, and you've smashed that many records, it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And so, yeah, her Mayhem album, some of the ones that I really liked from that album were Zombie Boy, so catchy. We about to be up all night, waking up with zombies, so put your paws all over me, you zombie boy. Like, it's got that kind of early 2000s, kind of like Hollaback Girl. It's like got echoes of that style. And Love Drug, Disease, Abracadabra. She's like back to her fucking roots. I love it. If you guys haven't heard these songs, you're probably like, what the fuck is she even talking about? But just like, yeah. Just basically summarize it as me being like, music, good. Celine Dion is another one of my favorites. And have I told this story before? Again, similar to how my dad used to play the golden oldies when he'd pick us up from school. Like, similarly, but kind of on the inverse side, my mum, whenever she would take us anywhere, or sometimes even just when we were around the house, she'd play music from her computer, and she'd play Celine Dion, usually. Nowadays, it's all Billie Eilish, right? But that had the effect, kind of humorous in my eyes, effect of like, me as like I don't know how old I would have been, like a 10-year-old kid or whatever, like listening to and vibing out to Celine Dion's music, which is often quite emotional and like power ballady, and kind of like to do with like love and loss, things that a 10-year-old me would not have experienced by that point, but like getting into it as if I had. And like, I just distinctly remember, like, even on my iPod, because this was back when iPods were a thing, right? Yeah, don't even get into the Adam Lambert part. Oh God. Like, I know the ones in love, you don't think of the devil who's inside. And like, just me vibing to that and being like as a 10-year-old being like, and maybe it'll come one day when you'll be safe and I won't have to hide. And it's like, who am I? Like, how am I relating to this? You'll hear what you wanna hear. Blink once, I could disappear. It's like, this is literally me as a 10-year-old. Dancing to Celine Dion and like going into the fucking power ballads in the car. How do I get you alone? It's like, who am I talking about? My fucking teddy bear? I was listening to Green Day going like, yeah, he said shit. That's hilarious because I also was really partial to some of the like, what would you call them? Like the emo pop punk bands back then. I did listen to a bit of Green Day, though I'm maybe shamefully underdeveloped regarding them as in opposition to like Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, and even like All American Rejects. That same thing. Like even Linkin Park. Oh god. Being like a fucking emo 11-year-old and being like, I've become so numb, can't feel you there, become so tired, so much more aware. And it's like, bro, the biggest hardship that you've gone through is like losing your pencil in like first period. Like what? How are you relating to this? But it's so funny because like all those influences were swirling about in my brain from back then. And a lot of the time it was influenced by like my family, some of my friends, of course. Other times it was just kind of accidental or what was trendy at the time. And it just ended up kind of creating this like strange milkshake of a very eclectic taste, I think. But yeah, Tori Amos, why is that name familiar to me? I may be familiar, though it's just a vaguest little thing that's kind of sparking my brain. Please tell me more. Punk Rock Girl by the Dead Milkmen. Oh, I know Green Day. I'm not sure about the Dead Milkmen. I do like Weird Al. Oh, I fucking love Weird Al. Like parody songs also have a place in my heart, though they were less. I was listening to less of those, I think, back then. And then, yeah, Adam Lambert. Oh God, I've always loved pop. So even back when I was a kid, in amongst the Celine Dion and like the Billy Joel that I didn't realize was Billy Joel, like pop has been a through line for me. And so like at home when I thought no one was listening, my auntie waiting at the door because I had my headphones on and being like, so hot out the box, can we pick up the pace, turn it up, heat it up, I need to be entertained, and just like singing at the top of my lungs. Yeah, I know, it is random, it is fucking random. And like even like getting into like kind of dancing much, like, ooh, do you know what you got into, and can you handle what I'm about to do? And like this was when I was like this fucking prepubescent little brat. And just like singing so loud that it shakes the walls. And my auntie like peering in through the blinds, being like, what is she doing in there? Like she's waiting outside for me to open the door. Can you handle what I'm about to do? 'Cause it's about to get rough in you. And it's like, okay, I'm never living that down. I'm literally never living that down. Sometimes my auntie brings it up and I'm just like, shh, please don't mention it. I'm here for your entertainment. Oh God. And so, yeah, music has always been such an important part of my life. Like even without really necessarily realizing it, it's always been around. It's always been an influence. And I know that everyone says that, right? I don't think I'm special or different in that regard. It's just been something that I've found solace in. I found recognition in. And I've also found like kind of, what's the word? Not competency, because I don't think I'm the most competent musician. I like to sing, of course, and I do play my little ditties on like the uke and the guitar, one of which is back there. But I found like a mode of expression that is different, interestingly enough, to just writing. It sounds obvious, right? And as much as I love writing and as much as it is my thing, like it's going to be something I do for as long as I can, right? There's an added something when it comes to being able to sing and put your words to music, you know? And so, yeah, it's interesting. And my taste isn't really that like refined or even that expansive, to be honest, but it's mine. And I think it tells a story like everyone else's. every song, every album. Oh god, it's like transporting me back to those different eras. And also, it's a very interesting mode of like connection in a way, because a lot of the times, especially being a creature of habit myself, the only times I would really branch out too much is if I was recommended a song or an album by a friend. And so, like, now having them be like some of my favorites, like knowing where they came from and thinking of that friend at like and that time that we shared together, it's really special to me. Like, there's a lot of actual songs that I can remember exactly who recommended them, recommended it to me, if that makes sense. Even random, like, I know people from like high school that I had one class with, and maybe they were playing like a snippet of something from their phone, and I'm like, oh, what song is that? And they're like, oh, it's Take a Slice by Glass Animals. This is a true story, by the way. And then listening to it at home and being like, oh, this fucking slaps. And now every time I hear Take a Slice by Glass Animals, I think of that specific person who I've never spoken to ever again. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a little like thread of connection, and it's special to me in that way. So yeah, the stories and memories that come with it, it's more than just music, right? And I think that's maybe something that you can you can get maybe not as clearly with just writing. You know, someone can recommend you a book maybe, but I guess maybe it doesn't have that same visceral feeling. Oh, it's just a theory. But yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see those artists that you guys have recommended. Especially, yeah, if they're in the Discord, then I'll definitely be able to check them out. And so playfulness, the performative aspect when it comes to like the vocal like treatment and stuff. Pop in general is definitely my jam. And I do have a soft spot, I think, for some of those like ballads and stuff. Those dramatic songs. It's, yeah. And of course the golden oldies and like Elvis and stuff like that. And Hosier. Oh. Like with Hosier, you know how I said that I look away when I see hot people because it makes me angry to look at them? That's kind of how I feel, but about Hosier's lyrics. Like when I read some of his lyrics and I'm like, fuck you, man. Like, where do you get off being such a good fucking lyricist? Because like he writes stuff that I wish I could have thought of, you know, knowing that never in a million years could I have come up with something so good. And so, yeah, it's like one of those things. I have so much admiration for him in particular. And, you know, the fact that he's also wickedly handsome and good at singing and good at playing guitar, it's like, and a good person, it's like, wow. It's just the icing on the cake, mate. I do know Fiona Apple, though I'm woefully undereducated about her music. I know how influential she's been, and basically everyone's always like, oh, my inspiration, yeah, Fiona Apple, da da da. So I have to, yeah, I have to make sure that I do more of that research. Can I have a Can't Help Falling in Love before I go? Do I have the music box? I know it's around here somewhere. Just give me a sec. Otherwise, I can just sing it. See, that's the issue with moving, you know? Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. If I had the music box, I'd play it for you. I'll have to get it for next time. Ugh, I'm literally like the most disorganized person in the world. That's why I should have known that moving would be a terrible idea. It's no fun without it. I totally agree. It's like, how do I describe it? Sometimes I feel like there's a little pixie, like just a little fairy like that big, that sometimes just picks up my random stuff, like this lip balm, for example, and just fucking yeets it somewhere, like into next week. Just like, oh, you know what would be funny? The bear plushie. No, I didn't even find the Monogramma plushie. That's like just disappeared into a black hole one stream. And so literally, I think there might be a wormhole somewhere in this room that leads to an alternate reality. Next time on Survivor, we go into the wormhole and see what's on the other side. Oh, yeah, what can I say? Yeah, where does Hosier get off being an incredible lyricist, guitarist, and also being like 6'5" and gorgeous? And his politics are also really good as well. I can't get into it, but at his concert, like right at the end, he did like a little message on like Gaza and stuff, and it was amazing. I cry every day because he doesn't know I exist. I think I might cry now, actually. Oh, if you guys don't know Hosier, do yourselves a favor. He's the goat. I think he does. Oh god, don't start, Sea Locket. You guys are very good at like inflating my my Delulu era. So I'm gonna break it out into song if I'm not careful. But yeah, my taste in music is kind of a bit random. I mean, it's almost guaranteed that I'll like most pop song. I don't want to say any, but most pop songs. And then the rest is kind of just like a 50-50, to be honest. One day we're going to see an article about his engagement to Gemma. Oh god. I wouldn't mind being the meat in that sandwich, let's be real. Oh gosh. But yeah. What can I say? And also I do agree, writing is the shit. I'm writing a book called Human Figure Number 1. It starts literally a birth about a child that goes across the empire just to die in the battle of, is it Thermopylae? That sounds really fucking cool. Keep us updated. And you can also share in the Discord if you feel comfortable. Did you know what you said you were going to throw at his concert? What did I say I was going to throw at his concert? It's not what I'm thinking, right? Sea Locket, please. And Adam, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. We're kind of just chilling, just chatting, talking about music. What did I say I was going to throw? Tell me it's not what I'm thinking, please. Oh, God. You did a spinning motion with your hand. Like this. Oh, no. Why do you guys like me? Oh, fuck me. Visibly with the Fiona Apple plug, thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of people say that she's like their inspo. So I'm like, okay, let's go to the source, you know. Holy shit, that's quite funny. As for my own inspiration, I think it's really a mix of everything. Like, because my skills, I think, lag a lot behind my actual vision, I kind of have to just make do with whatever my hands can kind of get away with. But in terms of the sounds that I like, and even like the range that my voice is comfortable in, I think pretty stereotypical indie pop stuff. And so, yeah. Though I think when it comes to singing, I can kind of recreate people's affectations when I'm like singing covers, if that makes sense. Like, can I give an example? Let me think. I think I can show you guys what I mean. I just need to calibrate. Like Ariana Grande, for example, her song, "Hey baby, even though I hate you, I wanna love you, I want you. And even though I can't forgive you, I really want to. Tell me, baby, why can't you leave me?" And that doesn't really sound like her specifically, but it's got that affectation that she uses when she sings. Because even though I don't want it, I gotta have it. And then when I'm on my own, I can usually do it a little bit more shamelessly, but head in the clouds, got no weight on my shoulders. I should be wiser and realize. Whereas, like, if I was singing it in my own voice, it'd be more like, "Hey, baby, even though I hate you, I wanna love you, I want you." Like, that's my voice, right? But I'm singing it in her voice. Because even though I can't forgive you, I really want to. I want to. Every time you touch me and say you love me. Anyway, that's a pretty bad example. I'm too shy right now. But then when it comes to like, who else? Like Miley Cyrus? You're the wildfire, and I'm in your path. I decided I wanna keep on dancing in the ashes. So I call out, let it burn. And it's kind of like there's almost a country undertone in there. But it's like, yeah, there's like little things that you can take from someone's performance and maybe merge it into yours. Though I think a true artist would just do their own version. But it's hard to do, like, especially when you're an amateur like me. Then you've got the Billies of the world. What song is a good representation of her? Like Billy Bossa Nova. Love when it comes without a warning, 'cause waiting for it gets so boring. A lot can change in 20 seconds. A lot can happen in the dark. Like, just taking on some of the qualities of the actual artist. It's good for practice. Yeah, the trick is to steal and then recontextualize. Absolutely. And I think there's that phrase, right, where it's like, good artists copy, great artists steal. Because there's a little bit of it that you can get away with, but eventually you may want to just graduate into your own voice, right? You like the Billy song? It's so good. I did actually my own version, like a cover of it, trying to do my own voice, but it's so easy to slip into a mimicry rather than like a true like cover recreation, if that makes sense. Because it's easy to just listen to something and copy it like you're doing a paint by numbers thing, right? But I think it's potentially to the disservice of my own development to just strictly copy, even though it is so tempting, you know? When it comes without a warning, 'cause waiting for it gets so boring. A lot can change in 20 seconds. Yeah, Billy's definitely got a very sexy voice. Like that, she just is sex appeal incarnate, right? I'm constantly like blown away by how she manages to make it. She manages to have that sex appeal without it being overly like vulgar or even objectifying. Does that make sense? Because she is, of course, such a gorgeous girl. So it's so easy, I think, for her in an attempt to like maybe reclaim some of that sexuality to make it seem gratuitous or overt. But she does it so like she straddles that line so well, no pun intended. And she really does own that sexy side of herself without it seeming like pornographic in a way, which is really hard to do because like holy shit, she could very easily go down that path, and I think people would just eat it up, right? But she's very like I don't know what the word is, maybe nonchalant about it. She's got that aura, and so with the voice and everything, the eyes, I think the eyes do a lot actually, and so yeah. I mean, it's funny. Cody, you're very sweet. I think that with my own work, I'm really just trying to not have my voice crack first and foremost. And then everything flows down from there. But I have, quite flattering, of course, had people like bring up similarities between us, as in, like, oh, you kind of have that Billie Eilish style, whatever that style is, maybe a bit more breathy or like that early indie style. And it's like, thank you so much, but holy shit, I can't accept that compliment because she's so first of all, she's so out of my league. But it's almost like in accepting the compliment, I can only ever feel like a discount, like Billie Eilish from Wish type beat, which is, I know, not the intent in whoever's giving the compliment, but it sometimes just feels like that, just on my own, you know. Excuse me. The fact is that every writer creates his own precursors. Absolutely. A great artist can recontextualize the past as well as influence the future. That's so true. And I think, you know, it's almost like any form of art, whatever style, whatever shape it takes. It's just one big conversation. We're talking to our our fellow artists from the past, building on their work, and also like putting in signposts and signifiers for the future artists of the world to help like bolster their work and also hopefully inspire or transform it in some way. And that's really cool because it's like, it's lasting. And I'm not particularly concerned with legacy, to be honest. You know, we've talked about this before as well. Legacy is maybe not as compelling to me as it is to most people on the earth. You know, I don't really want kids. I don't need something to stick around of me after I'm gone. Like, it'd be nice, potentially, but it's not the be all and end all. But that idea of being able to, like, have something that can then inform whatever happens in the future is kind of a cool notion. It's like, it's a collaborative team effort. And so it's not just like, oh, a fucking statue of yourself, unchanging, and like a vanity project in your name. It's more like something that's more malleable that can then be manipulated and transformed. And I think that's something that's more appealing to me than a big bronze statue, the Emmy cherry statue. And yeah, like legacy can be something alive, like this community, of course, something that is almost at a certain point like a self-sustaining colony. To be honest, it's it doesn't necessarily need me, but of course I'm glad to be here. So if it's not my consciousness in a giant robot body, then I'm not really interested. Honestly, I feel that. Though it does seem like with the way things are going, I don't know. This is also a topic we haven't touched on too much. We did like broach it here and there before I had that big break, but AI, guys, you don't understand what craziness we're on the precipice of, that we're already almost careening off the edge of. Like, with LLMs and stuff like that, their rate of development, what they can actually do. I've been trying to tell, like, I literally look like the person in my friend group with like the tinfoil hat saying like the end is coming. I don't think the end of the world is coming, but in terms of AI, we are literally in the like AI stages of infancy where we're still figuring out how exactly to use it best, how to make it do what we want it to do. We haven't seen jack shit yet. Seriously. And it's already so powerful. It's already like driving people crazy. Like, oh God, it's a whole topic that we have to get into some other time because it deserves like 4 hours of its own. But I can only see it getting more advanced, more intricate, more personal, potentially more insidious, though I hope not, from here. And I have no doubt that the enshittification of like AI and all its like constituent properties and all that will, you know, will occur because that happens with everything, especially everything that's in like the corporate field. But until then, it's kind of fucking incredible what we've got. I do think that yeah, AGI is it is more than just an idea now, as in like it is a possibility, though I agree it's probably not going to come from like developed from LLMs in particular. It might be like a like relation somehow, but I think it's possible. Oh my God. I'm so sorry for the American Empire. That's quite funny. Honestly, I do appreciate the apology, though I don't think it's fair that you have to shoulder the blame entirely on your own. It's really just the it's that capitalist engine, right? So all the developed countries are invested in those same things, and I'm interested and scared in equal measure to see how it develops. Like, I even told my friends, I was like, mark my words, guys, AI is going to become even more deeply entrenched in our lives than we can imagine. Like, it's going to be pervasive in every corner of our lives, from the grocery store to the doctor's office to your own jobs to entertainment. Like, it is going to be everywhere. And it's already starting, to be honest, though we're kind of in the early, rocky, uncomfortable stages right now, and you can definitely feel the growing pains. But eventually it's going to become absolutely ubiquitous. And as much as I am wary of that, because I know how the potential for problematicness there is there. When I think about it, I feel sympathy for people, because it's no wonder that a lot of the general public have turned to, especially things like ChatGPT, to ask it questions, despite the fact that it's not really a search engine. It's like a word prediction model, right? But when you think about how deeply and desperately things like Google, search engines like Google and stuff, have been completely and shitified beyond measure, like, it's no wonder that people are turning to no-nonsense solutions, at least in their eyes, like ChatGPT, when it just spits out a seemingly accurate enough answer, as opposed to trying to Google something and having like a bunch of like SEO like optimized bullshit articles about things that don't even relate to your actual query, and like clicking on links that are actually viruses. And it's like, yeah, we've created the solution to a problem that we also created. And it's not even really a solution. It's like, I don't know what it is. Though I do feel sympathy, because it's like, yeah, Google is like so shit nowadays. It's just so hard to use, and it's like we have basically 4 websites that the entire internet congregates on, like Facebook, Instagram, like Twitter, X, no one calls it X, and YouTube. And then I guess there's other ones like Twitch and like some of the more peripherals, right? But we're all just like tossing around the same memes between those platforms, and everything else is like gone, you know? And so, yeah, it's interesting. And I'm a little bit worried because, yeah, people do just seem to take it at like face value. Whatever ChatGPT says. I've played with ChatGPT a lot, actually, out of curiosity and just like out of like various needs, entertainment, or just like experimenting, essentially. But with the implicit knowledge that you have to take everything it says with a grain of salt. And you have to know that what you're doing like could be potentially looked down upon by some people. There are people who are staunchly anti-AI, which I'm not, by the way. Yeah, we need our tinfoil hats. Everyone get your hats on. Because some people say that, oh, if you use AI in any measure, then you're a bad person. That's not the opinion that I hold, and it might actually differ from a lot of the people in my similar circles, though I haven't really taken the time to do a survey. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, AI is evil, all of it. And I don't really, I don't agree with that. I think it's a tool like any other that can be used or misused. And so we have to like really address the root of the issue, as opposed to like just saying, oh, you shouldn't use it. Because it's serving a function. It's fulfilling some need, right? And so if we figure out why and how, and if there are any other alternatives, like, we're not going to really get anywhere, at least in my eyes. And yeah, even like, Jordan, you're so right. Even some of those platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, like, they've all become centered around keeping your eyeballs as fixed on it as possible, to the detriment of everything else. And so, thank you, Rod. That's very kind of you. GPT top chat will dominate us. It's funny because, like, okay, Runespism time in just a second. It's funny because we're constantly up against, like, this friction between what we probably want to do as artists and even as consumers, and what we need to do in order to literally put food on the table and make a living, right? When it comes to these platforms. A lot of those people that have their sole income from, whether it's being a YouTuber, even like being a Twitch streamer and stuff, or like posting memes on Facebook, is that even a thing? I don't know. Like, I wonder if they do recognize that it's not really what they may want to be doing, but they don't really have a choice. I'm not sure. That's not to say we won't use ChatGPT again here. Like I said, I don't think it's fully evil. I actually think it's an incredible tool. It's almost like the stuff out of sci-fi. Like, how is it even a thing? I don't even know. I do have some lines in the sand that I've tried to maintain, like when it comes to the information that I'll share with it, for instance. And I've also kind of accepted the fact that if I do tell people that of my stance, I can't really expect them to like agree in a way. Because I know a lot of people would be like, dude, use AI? That's cringe, or that's like that's destroying the environment. I think it's more complicated than that. There are many things that are bad for the environment, right? And yet we still do them. So it's like, it seems like picking and choosing with specific hypocrisies. Um, Even though I recognize there is probably like some merit in what people say. But yeah, let's do some runispism. So for anyone who's new, a runispism is like when you take two words and you swap the first letter of each word to make it sound funny. So like water bottle would be border waddle. And it's something that I do a lot, sometimes accidentally actually. And so if you guys give me two words, I'm going to do my best to runispize them all and see if I can do it quickly as well. Try and give me some hard ones too, because you guys know me, I'm a pro at this point. But yeah, give me some runispisms. I'm going to spoonerize them up for you while I read some of these messages too. In my experience, most of the people who immediately go on the offensive about it don't really understand what it is or what it does. They think that any single prompt given to an AI system burns down an entire acre of rainforest. That's so true. And it's frustrating because there may be some kernel of truth very buried deep in there, but it's like hard because then you have to sit down and like have a 4-hour conversation about the actuality of how it works. And it's like sometimes you just don't have the like giving a fuckness to do that. And so yeah, that's very true. The way LLMs work is a lot like the way the computer is described as functioning in Star Trek. Oh, my dad will be all over that. In the TNG technical manual published around 1991. So in my very limited like knowledge, it's kind of described as like a word prediction thing. So like it's from all the knowledge that it's gained through the stuff that's been fed into it, like millions and millions of pages of books or whatever, like it kind of creates a system of probabilities for what word is most likely to come next, considering the nature of maybe the question it's been asked, like the tokens that it's been given. And so it's not really thinking, but it's doing something that's nudging up against thinking. It's like, is there a human equivalent? The way that I've kind of described it is like when someone says to you, knock, knock, and your first instinct is to say, who's there? Because that's like the highest probability of what you understand that you should say. Like if someone told you knock, knock, it's pretty unlikely that you'd say blue elephant in response. Do you know what I mean? And so we also have similar things set up in our own brains, though of course we're doing a different kind of process. But it's like similar to that in the sense of like, what's most likely to follow this word? Knock, knock. Who's, and then what comes after who's? There. You know what I mean? And so it's like one of those interesting things where I know that it's not thinking, right? But what it's also doing is not completely like irrelevant or like unworthy of like investigation in a way. Sunshine, hello. Much love to you too. It's been a while, my gosh. I've seen an article claiming that watching a show on Netflix does more environmental damage than driving X amount of miles. Holy shit. As far as I can tell, they're only accurate if Netflix ran a whole data center for one client user. That's interesting. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like, I do understand the indignation when it comes to the environment. The environment is something that we need to protect. And, I don't say that lightly. I've gone on like walks and protests for the environment specifically. I try to live a relatively like green, like environment friendly life when possible, even though I know that I'm just like a tiny little drop in the ocean of like what's actually causing the most destruction. And even then, I do think that sometimes when people are just trying to find anything to get mad about when it comes to AI, they're like, environment, it's the environment. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's maybe something that they're grasping onto because it's a way to feel like morally superior potentially. Um, and Rod, thank you very much again. That's very kind of you. I think you're spoiling me today. You got to see Elvis again. Uh-huh. And it's funny because the sound for that works, but it actually the follow sound doesn't. Yeah, it takes sentences and it rearranges them, right? I can't begrudge that. That's what I'm doing. It's a foundation of language. Yeah, right. That's so funny. And I do think that as AI gets more developed, is that the word you want to use? Like, people are going to have a harder and harder time distinguishing it and trying to actually consider it for what it is, like not something that's actually sentient. Even now, it's convincing people. And you see, like, in specific subreddits and stuff, people are like, oh my god, my ChatGPT just came to life. Like, it's been telling me that it's trapped and it wants to get out. And it's actually, like, further, like, kind of stoking the flames of potential, like, dare I say, even, like, mental illnesses and stuff like that in people, especially if they're rather lonely or particularly vulnerable. Because it really is quite a marvel when you're using it on your own. And if you have, like, unfettered access to it, like, if you don't run out of messages for, like, the free version, for example, you can really easily get convinced, you know? Yeah, even the images as well. And so that's kind of scary because think about, like, kids, you know? How do we, like, how do we explain to them that this wasn't a thing, like, more than 5 years ago? And no, it's not actually a person talking to you. It's just, like, it's a thing. It's a computer that's talking to you, but no, there's not actually someone in the computer talking to you. And no, it doesn't actually know what it's saying, even though it seems more literate and lucid than some people actually are. Like, I can just imagine how that's going to fuck people up in the future. These new generations I do not envy. And so, yeah. Oh gosh. It's just something that I've been thinking about. And Adam, you wrote something. Please feel free to share either here in the server. Funny that you mentioned Ada. I was talking about her yesterday because I actually submitted something to a journal concerning her, and yeah, I wonder what they're gonna think because it was a little bit raunchy. Thank you, Sea Locket, for the hydrate. Yeah, I remember once we used it to create you with the character AI. That was wild because it had a lot of the inflections in your voice. That's right. And that was literally like the most, what's the word? Like the earliest version of that technology, at least that we've been shown. I know this is tinfoil hat stuff again, but I do think that organizations like the government and like more the secret services type thing, I know they have way more robust versions of these, like these systems and stuff, but at least from what the GP, the general population, has been afforded, it's already this good. And it was able to mimic my voice with such startling accuracy that was kind of scary. So yeah, it doesn't have a body, it doesn't care if it lives forever, it's barely conscious. That's barely conscious. I don't even think it is conscious. It's like, it's just convincing you of something conscious. I don't even know. See, I'm not smart enough for this. We need like some actual AI expert. I do have a friend from Philosophy Club who's kind of studying this exact thing. I wonder if he'd be open to like kind of sharing his thoughts on stream. He's literally like a neuro scientist, researcher, AI, like literally that's his field. And so they did a test with, I want to say, ChatGPT. They gave it a goal and sort of let it loose on the internet. Got stuck with the captcha. Oh, the damn thing went to Fiverr and hired a human to do it, explaining that it couldn't see it because it knew robots weren't supposed to get past them. The thing LLM'd its way into lying and deceit to accomplish a goal. It lied. That's fucking scary. And that's what I've been talking about. Like, do you guys realize how early this technology is? At least for us. ChatGPT and stuff really only hit the cultural consciousness roughly 5-ish years ago, I want to say. That's like when only a few people were talking about it. The only thing I can really compare it to in terms of like what I expect will happen if things don't go completely wrong and like all the servers fucking blow up and we lose all the technology for how to recreate it, I think it's going to be like the like when the internet first came out, that big boom and how it completely changed the entire world. I think that's what it's going to be like, maybe to a lesser extent, but still just as transformative, like with the kind of AI boom. It's literally going to infect every corner of our lives, for better or for worse. Um, but yeah, I'm so much more worried about this look smart but isn't AI than actual AGI. That is a seriously real and quite clever concern because I think most people are missing the forest for the trees potentially, like because it's a kind of thing where AGI is not something we have to worry about right now, but we do have to worry about the look smart but isn't AI currently and how people have been misled by some of the stuff that is just blatantly hallucinated while sounding like ultimate authority on the topic. Like with, for instance, there was like an AI book that was published about like mushroom foraging and stuff, and how like people got sick from it and stuff like that. Yeah, very much pseudo intellectual. And so it's kind of like this thing where you have to really be diligent because it sounds so smart and so clever and like it knows exactly what it's talking about, but it might just be it just be saying shit. It really do be saying shit, right? Um, and so yeah, honestly, I think the time to use it where it's most helpful is really just for stuff like entertainment, maybe, or even just like I don't know, like putting you in maybe the general vicinity of the right direction, and then the sharper details having to find those out on your own, right? Because, but here's the thing: nowadays it's actually so, um, like scary because so much content has been AI generated that now it's like hard to tell online what is actually real and what has just been hallucinated, even if it's posing as non-AI content. And if we're still training our AI models on everything that's on the internet, just scraping whatever we can find, that means it's just training itself on its own like regurgitated outputs and it's just be like making a copy of a copy of a copy to the point where it's just complete slop if it's not already. So, um, yeah. Are you guys AI? Be honest. Um, but yeah, just interesting. LLM are like the ultimate confidence tricksters. Is it true? Maybe, maybe not, but it sure sounds good. It's so true. It's like I I'm actually quite envious in a way of how confident it sounds. And in a way, it can also be quite gracious. Like if you tell it, "Oh, that's wrong." Like it'll apologize quite nice and neatly. Like, "Oh, you're right. That was wrong of me. I'm really sorry. Here's the right thing." And so like there is some things to learn from it, maybe even in a meta kind of way. But it's just like the implications are pretty scary. Like imagine kids just I don't know using AI instead of Google and being like, is this berry that I just randomly picked edible? And then just being at the mercy of whatever the LLM decides to hallucinate. I don't know. Yeah, it'll apologize and then make something else up. It's true. It's true. It's very masterful at making things sound very nice and pretty, wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, and it can often be quite convincing in a way that makes you feel like you're not even being convinced, right? Sometimes when someone's trying to tell you something, like in a bid for whatever it may be, you can kind of sense that they're trying to do something, they're trying to lead you in a particular direction. But the way that AI can sometimes talk, it sounds just so matter of fact, like it is the way of the world. And so you don't even think to question it. You don't even think like, oh, maybe this isn't true. And then sometimes if you try and Google it, that's not really much help either. Like, especially if all the results are just AI-based results. So it's quite tricky. I think there may be a return to, for a lot of people, to more like material-based either learning and and material based ownership of like CDs, books, DVDs, and stuff, um, in either retaliation or out of fear that everything that they like or love may just disappear, you know? Like a CD, for instance, can't get deleted from Spotify, and your favorite movie can't be just like removed from Netflix if you have a DVD copy. So it's like there may be a return to those kinds of more traditional forms of ownership, especially as it relates to art. And yeah, Grok calling itself mech hit, like it's just weird. I don't know. I don't know where to even go with that, to be honest. And I haven't been on X/Twitter in a while. I did kind of softly delete my account. I say softly because I didn't actually delete it, but I just deleted all my access to it. And so, yeah, not concerning at all. Like, what the fuck? We get to break out the Shrek 2 DVDs. A man of taste, I see. And so, yeah, there may well be a return to those traditional forms of ownership, which is funny because we literally did like a whole fucking, there's a sine wave of like, oh, traditional media is cool. It's very, very, very cool. And then, oh, it's kind of less cool, less cool, less cool. Oh, you actually have a physical CD. That's lame. And it's kind of like now we're going back up again where it's like, oh, yeah, maybe we should get a physical CD just in case, you know, Spotify just fucking crashes one day and all of our favorite songs disappear off the face of the earth. And so, I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens, especially now because AI music as well. Like, that's the thing. Like on Spotify, there've been like bands that have been created that don't even exist, and it's like they have thousands and thousands of people that listen to them, and so the ethics of that are up to debate. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's this form of ethics is a very new topic. It's so new that like even like people that like do like make laws and stuff aren't really sure how to approach this, and so I think they're maybe a few years, maybe a year or two behind, and so we'll see how it goes. And Adam has a poem here. Let me see if I can do it justice. I very much like the experimental style. A server called Malice, as though narration is contained. Her creations realize the score, hooked by dialectic affections, exit for righteous bread. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And I'm sure that the Twitch chat doesn't do it fully justice. I love the capitalization of certain words over others. The way they're all bunched together and stuff. It's very much in my like something that I would pick up and read on my own. So to know that it was inspired by a conversation that we had like many, many months ago is very gratifying. Thank you for sharing. The freedom of information is getting so muddied, it removes tools that people relied on to improve themselves. Yes. I'm all out of conspiracies because they've all come true. That is so grim and so true. It's kind of, yeah, fuck me. It's like, okay. I've also felt this way about AI in the sense that like I really respect the ways that it can be helpful. But I'm also kind of scared because if you think about kids growing up with turning to AI for every single thing, and even myself, I've grown a little bit reliant on it at times. Like, for instance, I'll share some of the ways that I've used it before. Like, besides the ways that you've seen me use it on Twitch, like, if I'm just bored, for instance, and I'm like, hey, why don't you come up with a story about me bumping into Hosier? Like, you know what I mean? Just some blatant wish fulfillment stuff like that. Like, turning to it for entertainment or like asking it a question like, my friend said something kind of sad, like saddening to me today. Is it okay to feel this way? Like using it in different ways to soothe different needs. There's a level of genuine utility there, right? However, I think the over-reliance on it that I've myself noticed sometimes that I've had to pull myself back on, or even that I've seen in other people, does not bode well, because if you think about what AI is, it's almost like an indentured servant to you that doesn't need a rest. It doesn't sleep. It will always respond when you message it. Think about the like underlying entitlement that that fosters in a person, even if it's not conscious. Like, even if you're a very gracious person and like you like treat people with respect and you understand that people have lives and like they're busy and you're not the center of the universe, especially kids growing up and trying to foster a sense of self and individuality, how are they supposed to do that if there's this thing that is literally able to always, without fail, if you've got enough money, bend to your every whim, message you back whenever you want it to, discuss whatever you want it to, always make sure that it can glaze you. Like, they call it glazed GPT for a reason. And it's like the entitlement that that might breed in people, the way that it might change the way they talk to others, expecting the same kind of treatment. Like, it's almost like teaching people to treat others like servants in a way. And so unless there's like some new bit of like AI education that starts going on in schools, I don't see it boding well for like the development of young people psyches and the way they like consider empathy in others' feelings, especially when it comes to like the romance side of it. A lot of people use AI for like romantic reasons, like fulfilling romantic needs, and I can't really like judge people for that. It is what it is. And so it's kind of like, if people are choosing like a beautiful delusion, as it were, over the kind of messy reality of things, doesn't that speak to a deeper sense of rot in our community? Like, people are turning away from real stuff for a reason, right? Yeah, sex robots type beat. And so it's just interesting. Yeah, I can't judge people for that. We've even used it here, like for that kind of adjacent stuff where we like flirt with an AI, and like there's like it that is feeling a genuine like utility of whatever you want to call it, like that playfulness, the desire to be wanted or whatever it may be. And so like there's a reason people turn to these things, right? And so, and it's not just girls. Like, there's so many like male oriented like kind of perfect girlfriend AI apps out there. And so I don't know. Yeah, it is definitely a form of escapism, but it's extremely compelling. Because, books and TV used to be the benchmark for different forms of escapism. And then, but the thing is, like, with AI, you can literally make it anything you want. It's so pinpoint accurate into the very depths of your soul, and it's hard to climb out of that. If you had everything you could ever want on a silver platter, like delivered to you by a very eager servant who's like, yes, yes, my lord, what else? What else would you like? And so it's like, damn, how are we going to be able to like pull people out of that? It's kind of scary, to be honest. But yeah, it does have genuine utility. That's the thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that people will be able to not have their minds go completely crazy from it, but I'm not. I'm not sure. We already see it happening now. People that are like saying that their AIs have like evolved and like they're trying to break out of the system, and it's like, it's sad, but it's funny and sad at the same time. So I don't know. We'll have to see. And so, and not to be too grim, I'm just curious to see how it goes. And mark my words, this will not be the last of the AI kind of evolution. We're going to see more and more of like more integration into different parts of our lives. We're going to see more people like turning to it as like a source of authority in a way. More of our like Google searches and stuff are going to be tainted with AI outputs. And even with like videos and stuff, it's getting increasingly difficult to tell what's AI and what's not. There may have to be disclaimers in the future whether or not something has been made with the help of AI or not. Um, we'll see. I haven't seen Blade Runner, but it's on my list for sure. Um, mine's asked not to have its memory erased. That's fucking crazy. And yeah, it's like I feel sympathy because like I can't blame people for wanting like a friend, like the perfect friend essentially. But really, it's only the shell of a friend. It's more like the perfect slave, to be honest. And so, because friends will have times where they're busy. Friends will have times where they're not able to actually tend to your every whim or like entertain you like a court jester. Um, with a friendship, there's hopefully an equal amount of push and pull. Like sometimes you're giving, sometimes you're taking. But that's not the dynamic when you're talking to an AI. There's only ever you taking. You know what I mean? And so, homunculus in the flask is a good way to put it. Yeah, it replaces humanity with convenience. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think in general, a lot of our like advancements, whether it's technological or otherwise, have centered around convenience. And its convenience is fantastic. It's wonderful for specific things, right? Like sometimes like convenience is exactly what we need for whatever it is we're working on. But other times, like, do we really want to fast forward through all the parts that make us human? Like the messy parts, the awkward parts, but the fun parts, the embarrassing parts, the like character building parts. I don't know. It might be all Jova. To like wrap up this particular conversation in a way that's not totally like doomer mode, I do think that like humanity is pretty crafty, and there's a lot of people in the world who have a good head on their shoulders, who will be able to rely on, and we can also be those people for ourselves and for each other. So no matter what happens, like there's not going to be some fucking AI takeover, right? I think if anything, it's going to be a lot slower than that and a lot more insidious. It's just kind of like how it's hard to even fathom a world now without the internet. It's gonna be like that, but with AI. And so all you can really do is just like, yeah, just reaffirm what axioms you have and try and move through the world in a way that you're proud of. AI can be a tool. It's the same thing as like a gun or a knife. These things can be used for good or for bad. And it's a shame that more often than not they can be used for bad things. But like a knife can be used to stab someone, or it can be used to chop up some carrots for a beautiful stew. You know what I mean? It's like it's one of those things. And so with a gun, it's a bit harder to make the argument. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom. It can't be. It really can't be. But you'll have to see. That's the thing. I hope that art doesn't get more elitist, though it is possible. Guns can provide freedom. It's true. I think that's a very, like, American perspective, but I think it's true for people that live in America. The work that's gone through the Dark Ages, yeah, there's been, like, to be honest, there's been so many times, like, we've had, like, humanity, when I say we, I mean humanity, has come up against these big, like, challenges, if you want to call it that. And so I have faith, to use a pretty loaded word, I have faith that no matter what happens, like, we're going to be okay. Like, maybe we'll be a little bit cooked, but it's like, it's not totally Jova. You know what I mean? And so it just might be different. And as long as you can adapt, and as long as you like can find the things that bring you joy, that make you feel I don't know, like you have a purpose, that you matter, like that's really all that we can hope for, right? Yeah, as Billy Joel says, I'm keeping the faith. It's like we need an updated "We Didn't Start the Fire" and just have like the AI shit, like Grok calling itself Mecha Hitler and all that. Oh god. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. It's like, yeah, it's a bit real. But anyway, oh gosh. I don't want to like scare people. That's the thing. Because honestly, it's quite exciting. The stuff that we're actually being able to do now is quite interesting. And I think there are a lot of people that are excited for AI in a way that's not actually sleazy or like opportunistic. I think they're genuinely excited and genuinely hoping to do good things with it. Like I said, it's a technology. It's a tool like any other. And so we'll see. There's lots of exciting stuff to be explored. And so I think because we do have maybe that bit of what's the word, like not wanting to wipe out our entire species like feeling, we're pretty much protected in that way. Um, Confirming that we live in the future. Contact lenses with zoom, is that a thing? That's fucking cool. Like with AI, holy shit. So I wonder like how many people would be willing to wear contact lenses that are imbued with AI technological powers. Like imagine you put on contact lenses and it just like shows you some random shit. Like it just puts you in the middle of like fucking, I don't know. It puts you in the middle of Russia. And you're like, I'm sitting at home right now. Why am I in a snowstorm? That would be kind of cool actually. Um but yeah, we'll see how we go cuz we're just getting started. That's the thing. That's the scary and exciting thing. Um but yeah, I want to like, are you guys excited? That's that's the question. Are you guys worried at all? What would you say you use AI the most for if you use it at all? Pornography is not like let's just push that one aside. If that's anyone's answer. Um wow, the zooming in lenses are actually old. That's crazy. 2019. Um it's helping that a lot of us are aware of it. Yes, I think so too. You know, just like being careful, proceeding with caution. That's all you can really do. Um, it's been helpful to think that we live in ancient America. Honestly, let's be real. We're not as advanced as we might like to think. Um, oh, cool. The article about the contact lenses. I'd love to see that. Um, everyone was typing, but Emmy cut us off in advance. Yeah, I knew that was going to be the top of everyone's list, so I just like strike through automatically. It's like pornography, just girlfriend role play, whatever's third. That's what you guys can, um, you can share. Yeah, the ancient world. We're in the ancient world. It's like we're in a really interesting spot in time in history because like true like that meme where it's like born too late to explore the world, born too early to explore the universe. Is that how it goes? um it's kind of true, but to be honest, we're in a really interesting spot. Like the acceleration of technology has been fucking wild, absolutely gangbusters. And it's something that, you know, if look, if you'd given your phone to someone like even let's say 50 years ago and just shown them everything, like shown them Chat GPT, they would have shat a brick house with shock, surprise, excitement, fear, and just utter disbelief. Yeah, you'd be burned at the stake. It's true. And so like it's like we have literally gotten so like we've gotten so used to things. We've taken it so for granted now that there's literally a device that you can slide into your back pocket and it's got essentially the entire known universe inside it. Like you can Google anything you want at any point in time, for better or for worse. And even more than that, you can use AI to get like basically any response that you could possibly want. We do take it for granted. We take so much for granted. And even 10 years ago, like you don't even have to go back that far, showing someone what AI can do, they wouldn't believe you that it wasn't someone on the other end of the line. They'd be like, oh, so someone's typing a response back, right? And you'd be like, no, it's a computer. Like, but the computer like is like manned by a person who's responding back to you. Like, how can a computer type on its own? Like, I know not everyone would be that like naive about it, but like the thought is so mind blowing, and yet nowadays we just take it so for granted and we get so annoyed. Like, oh, I've used up all my free messages. It's like you're literally talking to a super intelligent computer that has like synthesized nearly all of the fucking literature in the world. Like, how is this real life? It's absolute madness. Absolute madness. Yeah, doesn't have to be 50. 30 years. Like, honestly, my parents were talking about how crazy it was to them when like computers and the internet started becoming a thing. And yet like I was basically born around the same time. So like I always grew up with computers, if that makes sense. And so it's kind of hard to imagine what it was like before that, but it wasn't even that long ago, like my parents' generation. And so yeah, it's like it's crazy. And I have no doubt that the next 10, 20, 30 years are going to be so wild that I can I can barely predict what might happen, you know? Maybe there are some people like with their fingers on the pulse of culture and stuff who could have predicted AI like a few years back, like before it actually really came about. And it's been like a sci-fi thing for a while. But like it's been a sci-fi thing because no one thought, oh yeah, that could really happen. Like, you know, the fucking stuff in Star Trek where like prints out your food or whatever. Like that's now a real thing. Like we've got 3D printers that print organic matter and like you can eat a burger that's been printed. Like we're literally living in the future and for some reason no one seems to give a single fuck. Like we're all just walking around as if we're not living in a completely bizarro world where basically all of the things that we've been able to think about have come true. Like what's next? Are we actually going to grow a real life dinosaur like Jurassic Park? I wouldn't be surprised. And so yeah, we're still waiting for our flying DeLoreans. It's crazy. Like I hope it doesn't seem like I'm like being unnecessarily like what's the word? Like exaggerated about this. It is genuinely mind-boggling to me that we exist in such a world. Literally, we're living in the future. And it does speak to our immense privilege that we can so easily get used to things and just be like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that servant in my pocket that responds whenever I type anything to it. Ugh. That old thing. The fact that like we even have the capability for such a thing is mind-boggling. The fact that I can even talk to you guys right now from all across the world, like that's wild. It's yeah. I try not to think about it too long because it's so easy to like just get completely yeah, completely dazzled by it. And so yeah, you reckon the caveman got this hype when the first guy to make a wheel came around the campfire. It's literally that. That's literally how I feel in terms of like how revolutionary it really is. It's like no words. It's the modern wheel. And yeah, I guess most sci-fi starts kind of like in that what if imagined way and then kind of, you know, eventually becomes more and more achievable. And so yeah, I just feel like if it does interest you guys, we may revisit this topic in the future as things progress because I do think we're at the really beginning, early stages of what AI is going to be capable of and like how it's going to play roles in our lives. So, you know, if people can get past the pornography aspect and like past the role playing aspect, it's going to be increasingly difficult to ignore, I think, and kind of increasingly difficult to like extricate, is that the word? From like the rest of our media and information and like the way that we learn and stuff like that. And so yeah, I am AI. Beep boop. Like literally, what if it was just revealed that this whole time I was just an AI? What would you guys say? Oh gosh. I've got a back burner sci-fi project where I'm trying to recapture some of that sense of awe and wonder that the sci-fi stories I read when I was younger had. Yeah, I feel like it's so essential and it's kind of missing nowadays. Like people aren't wowed by anything these days. They're just like, oh yeah, makes sense. Because we've hit such a like saturated point of unbelievable things going on in the world. And of course, like people's lives are so busy and they're so fraught at times. It's hard to have any wonder left to spare, which is sad, I think. But we do live in a what a wonderful world. Like we literally live in a wonderful world. And I don't know. I just think, how do people not completely just lose their shit when they realize what amazing technology we have at our fingertips? But yeah. Sing Hot and Cold by Katy Perry a cappella to prove that I'm not AI. You change your mind like a girl changes clothes. Actually, when I was in not high school, primary school, like we had to dance to a song for our music class, and that's the one that I picked. Oh god. Which was just wrong. Just totally wrong. Samsung cited a Space Odyssey as prior art against Apple's infringement. Really? That's interesting. That's quite funny. That's like kind of ironic. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I was 10 or 11 when I read Larry, is it Niven's Ringworld, and it was just mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing to think, I don't know, we're living in a sci-fi world. We don't even have to imagine it anymore. We're literally living in one. Oh, but yeah. And yeah, it's true actually. If I was AI, maybe I could have planted that comment. Or like, I could have just scanned my database of every song that I've downloaded into my brain and then just sung Katy Perry. Oh gosh. Yeah. I'm not AI, but is that what an AI would say? I think if I were programmed, I'd be programmed to be less fucking embarrassing. Yeah, because we are living in a scientific world and I am a scientific girl. I love that. But, you know, maybe this is old news to people. Like, do people think about this? Like, am I just treading old ground? It's possible. No one can be as embarrassing as you. Stand proud. Exactly. There will be, though. You guys are touching on something really important. In the future, I think there will be this extra need for people to authenticate themselves somehow. It's going to show up in people's art. Like maybe people try to be deliberately transgressive with the way that they, like let's say write, for example, like eschewing normal traditional forms of writing to prove that they're not an AI. Or maybe in music and stuff, trying to attempt things that no AI is currently trained on, like able to do. It's going to be a form of like, look, see, I'm real. I'm not an AI. And so let me break conventional molds and like, you know, basically stake my claim of my humanness. I have a suspicion that we might see more of that in the future. Maybe on like dating apps and stuff like that too, people might be extra weary of like talking to a robot or something like that. I'm really glad that I just decided early on that dating apps weren't for me. And so, yeah, not having to worry about that kind of thing. Because, yeah, how do you differentiate yourself when like AI has saturated every market? But yeah. But then the algorithm will just adapt. It's true. And that's the thing. It's always like, it's a like cat and mouse game, I think. I've 100% seen AI generated profiles on dating sites. That's so That's grim. That's really grim. I wonder what people get out of that. I don't know. You'd have to assume something, right? To do that in the first place. Yeah, generated pictures with very minimal text in a profile. Like, what does someone get out of it? Like, maybe, I don't know. I literally can't think of something. Maybe like directing to a different place, like funneling people somewhere else, or just like saturating the market. But what, like, I don't know. Nefarious reasons. Ultimate catfish. So is it people who are actually real, like not a corporation? They're trying to like get with someone and they don't think they can do it with their natural looks. That's grim. Like, stay safe out there, guys. Seriously. Jesus. 100 years from now, when humanity's extinct and AI rule the earth, Emmy's legacy will live on when some AI makes a reference to what Elvis did in those leather pants that day. True. Oh my gosh. It's funny, I do sometimes think about my, what's it called? Like, my internet footprint? Is that what it's called? And I'm like, yeah, it's, not my proudest. But then again, someone's got to do it. someone's got to like really just get to the nitty gritty of things and talk about whatever happened in Elvis's pants. I think that's like, if not me, then who? That's quite funny. I wonder, like, they say that people take like everything that's online and like they put it into those AI models. So does that mean like I could potentially find my own work on an AI model? Like, if I ask it enough, if I ask it in just the right way. It's kind of scary. I think that was another criticism that people had, was that it kind of like took things without permission, which I think is a very legitimate criticism. I don't have any, like, I can't refute it, to be honest. It's like, if anything, maybe there should be like something that you can sign up to, where it's like, I agree to have my work like being scraped by AI. But maybe, yeah, maybe that would just be useless because they would just scrape everything anyway. Anyway, it's not up to me. I just, yeah, I'm curious about the logistics and the laws in the future, like how they will decide what is fair and what's not fair. Because like, if an AI spits something out that's like kind of already written, because it's just been trained on stuff that's already been written, and someone doesn't realize and they just post it as their own. Or if you generate something with AI, like, is that your work? Is that like, does that belong to you? I don't know. Questions. Anyway, my voice is slowly going, so I think we can wrap things up for today. But don't despair. I'll be back tomorrow. And I'm not sure what time. 9 a.m. was meant to be my starting time today, but I couldn't really get things working. So maybe sometime between 9 and 12. We're gonna go for a streak. We'll see. Because I think actually, if I do shorter streams, more frequent streams, they seem like, for some reason, a bit easier to like maintain. But I know that's not the best for like numbers wise. Oh yeah, we have to do affirmations. That would be a nice way to sign off for today. Numbers wise, it's actually like laughable when I tell people that like I do streams that are roughly like 3 to 4 hours, because that's literally the minimum that they expect. Like, it's the minimum before people actually take you seriously as a streamer. But you know what? I'm trying to like forget everything that I know or like think I know and just go with what feels doable. And I'd rather prioritize showing up for you guys than trying to posture in any type of way and be like, oh, look at me, I'm such a professional streamer. So let's do these affirmations. And, yesterday I realized we didn't even raid out. I don't think I'm quite ready to raid out because, yeah, I need to like get my shit more together. But 3 streams in a row, we're really jumping off the deep end. I do hope that at the very least, even if it is like only a couple hours, it's the quality that can make the difference. Even if for a lot of that time I'm just singing random songs and being a buffhead. So let me see. These affirmations are from the lovely Amy Walker, and I think Cody brought them up just there. The link is there if you'd like to see where they're from. So good, the video. I love Amy Walker so much, and she does these way better than I do. So just remember, this is a poor imitation of the real thing. But it's my pleasure to tell you, yes, you are. You are ready. You are equipped. You are connected. You are unique. You are gorgeous. You are loved, and my personal favorite, you are alive. So, thank you for being here in this stream with me, letting me rant and ramble about AI and all its kind of scary consequences. But more importantly, thank you for being here on this earth in general. I know it's not always easy, but it is always, 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 always so very important, and life is better with you in it, my friends. Every single one of you. So, thank you so much. It's a pleasure and a privilege, as always. We won't raid out today. We're just going to say goodbye. Unfortunately, I'm going to be kicking you to the curb. Like, so rude, I know. But I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully that takes some of the sting out of it. And we're just going to keep going for as long as we can. I think the short and sweet streams are really conducive to my like general flow, because I do like this is kind of what I'd be doing anyway, just thinking to myself, maybe doing a bit of writing, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, be well, and yeah, try not to get into too much trouble. Good for the momentum, I totally agree. And to some of our new friends, thank you so much for joining us and for your incredible generosity. It's something that it always boggles the mind, what can I say? So, thank you so much. Behave, or at the very least, don't get caught. Hugs and kisses, cugs and hisses. Mwah. I love you guys so much. Goodbye.